is up? Welcome back. It's Friday night. You're here with the Average Boys podcast. It's your boy Crispy, and I am here with my boy Brian. Brian, what is up, my dude?
Yo, what is going on, everyone? It's your boy PD, and of course, it's Friday night, and I'm here with my boy Chris P to talk some nerd shit. Chris, what is up, my guy?
Nothing, chilling. Enjoying the week. Of course, we have a pretty exciting weekend here in the Valley area. We have Anime Fiesta happening tomorrow. It's going to be a big event.
That's
2
right.
days, Saturday, Sunday. McAllen Convention Center going to be pretty wild. We got a couple people in the comment section that usually hang out, so it's good to be able to run into everybody, and it's going to be a fun weekend.
So wait, hold on, don't just gloss over that really quick. So for those that are listening that don't exactly know, that are outside of the Valley, explain what the convention you're going to is.
So Anime Fiesta is probably the biggest and well-known convention that happens kind of on offset time to South Texas Comic-Con. South Texas Comic-Con is the biggest convention that happens in the South Texas area. It's probably one of the top 10 in the state of Texas. Our friend Ramsey Ramirez, our good boy Ramsey Ramirez, and Marla V are the ones that run the event. They've been doing an exceptional job several years in it, and it's going to be great, man. It's going to be a great event. Tomorrow is the anime section, which is Anime Fiesta, hosted by Anime Boom, which is, well, of course, Kaboom Comics is the business that Ramsey and Marla run. Ramsey runs it, and he also has a side business, which is Anime Boom, which is a anime store dedicated strictly to just anime. So you go there, they have a boba tea shop, they have a bunch of stuff, bust, anime, you name it, they got it all there, man. Then so what they've done is they went ahead and said, hey, you know what? Well, South Texas Comic-Con is super successful based on comic books and pops and all that other stuff. Let's see what we could do with anime. And they have this big old event. They have anime made chicks there that sell boba tea. They do like dances, and they have just a bunch of crazy cool stuff that happens. And yeah, super excited to go. A bunch of stuff, cosplayers, you name it, they do it. There is also a second event that's going on at the South Padre Island. That is Bonsai Con. It's a new event. It's fairly new. These guys used to run events way back in the day and kind of like fell off the radar. Recently, they came back to host their first event, which starts tomorrow. And they apparently have like the first ever like K-pop concert going on tonight, with Must Be being the K-pop group they brought down. We've never had a K-pop group in the South Texas area.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so they brought these guys down. They're all out there performing, so I hope it goes well. They're hosted by K-pop Melody, which is a good group out of Westico. They have their own little K-pop store. Pretty well-knit organization, man. Pretty good on the community. So it's going to be a cool little event. So not only that, I believe that everything that's going on, there's a lot of stuff going on at South Padre Island this week with the bike convention. There's like a whole motorcycle convention that they do this weekend also that's been going on for years and years and years. A bunch of motorcycle people show up, and yeah, it's going to be crazy. Other than that, it's just us doing cool shit here. So he can't go wrong with that, man. So we got cosplayers. My best friend Christella, she's working on her cosplay right now to finish it up. She's going to be doing a League of Legends character. Yeah, and we have just a bunch of people that have hit us up that they're going to show up, and they're super excited. And sales have gone well from what we've heard. They was all over the news and all this other stuff. So, yep. Nerd News. What's up, Heather? How you doing? Heather's a good friend of ours. Heather is actually... She runs a really cool production for Rocky Horror Picture Show at one of the local events is it during the Halloween time, Heather? I want to say it's during around, well, I mean, they're already starting to get ready for it because they're going to do it again this year. They do like an annual theater Rocky Horror Picture Show at the Cino Ray, which is this very cool historic theater downtown McAllen.
Nice.
And she's the director. She is the director. So every Saturday in October. Yep. There you go.
It's pretty cool.
That is awesome. It's a really, really great event. Heather's a super awesome person. It's good to see that you're on the show. Thank you very much for jumping in and chilling out with us. Starting tomorrow. Get it this weekend. Yeah. Hell yeah. So Rocky Horror Picture Show every Saturday in October at the Cino Ray, historic Cino Ray. Guys, go check it out. Heather's in the comment section. Really rad show. But yeah, other than that, I mean, the week's been pretty crazy, has it not been? For the nerd news kind of stuff. I mean, we had a really cool internet break.
I mean, something happened, right? I don't remember exactly what, but something happened.
Something happened super fucking crazy. It's something that we could probably talk about a little bit later in the show. I mean, everybody already knows what we're going to talk about. It literally broke the internet, but there are some other stuff that we want to talk about too. Of course, we had a really cool trailer drop for Last of Us, which looks fantastic, man. Did you get to see the trailer?
I did, sir. I did.
That looks fucking great. So, like, okay, I know you yourself You're a pretty big fan of the game, aren't you?
Yeah, I fell in love with the first game, rushed out to buy the second game. I still like the first a little bit better, but I mean, I'm a huge fan. So yeah, I was excited when I heard that the trailer dropped. Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you think of the trailer? I mean,
Um,
Pedro Pascal.
I mean, dude, yeah, you can't go wrong with Pascal. So it's like, yeah, this is probably going to deliver for me personally. I don't think um too many people that are interested in seeing this movie are gonna think that they're not gonna pull it off. So they have a lot going for it. I hope it does well, honestly.
I mean, from what the trailers look like, it looks freaking amazing. Like Robert said, our boy Robert's in the comment section already. What's up,
Yeah,
bro? I
what's up,
like you
Rob?
doing, my
Rob.
dude.
Oh, wait,
The
hold on.
infected.
He did say something. Dan Bryan, the Barcelona jerseys. I think they're playing tomorrow, by the way. I think Barcelona's playing tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you into football? Are you into the original football?
Yeah, I am. I'm a Barcelona fan. I'm also a Liverpool fan. So I'm a red through and through, and yeah. What about yourself? Are you into like any sports? And do you follow any teams or anything? Like, what's your thing?
It's kind of weird. I am more of a fight sports guy. I mean, I
Okay,
think you know that the mixed
I
martial
do.
arts thing has been my thing, the striking world, boxing, kickboxing. Um, Team sports aren't really my thing too much, unless it's like the Russians that do like 9-on-9 MMA fights. That shit's fucking awesome, dude. I can
Yo,
watch
wait,
it.
is that the one where the dude punched the other guy, and then like after he was trying to cool down, he
Fucking
ran.
whammy the other guy in the back of the head
He
while they were fighting.
nah, he no, he ran across the stage and like jump kicked the dude while he
Mhm,
was sitting in the chair. You remember that shit?
mhm.
Did
Oh no,
anybody
no,
else
no.
see that?
Okay, so
No, that was that Russian shit. Like that was that
that's
Russian shit.
Russia's just like I don't know what's going on, man. Russia's like it's either in the
Yo,
news
does
causing
anybody
war.
in the comments remember that? More am I
I
just
do.
bugging?
No, no, no. And that's not even that wasn't even the fight. That was literally the sit down so that they could talk shit to each other.
Yeah.
But what they do is the promoters like, oh well, if they start fighting, just let them fight for like 15 seconds and it'll build popular. And the guys just wail the fuck on each other
Oh,
in a horrible way.
the
Like
dude, I'm
just
telling
crazy.
you, bro, the dude just ran smoothly across the stage and gave this guy a flying kick while he was sitting down. That was there you go.
I man, I
Set
got
it
this.
up, set it up. I set it up, you knocked it down. That's
I'm
it.
telling you,
Yeah,
man, it's happening.
dude.
Right there, right there. Look, Robert says crazy Russian fight dude on YouTube. Don't even know what kind of promotion they have. You don't even know what it is because you see that video. You see the guys start kicking each other wearing blue jeans and just like everyday clothes, and then the next day they're in a telephone booth beating the fuck out of each other.
Oh, wait, no, I saw the telephone booth shit too. That's wild.
Fucking wild. And then the other one was I gotta send you the video. It's two dudes sitting in a car and then they say go and they have to unbuckle each other and start beating the shit out of each other while they're sitting like driver and passenger. And it's a convertible, so at least the roof doesn't get in the way. But like,
I don't know,
yeah,
man. I
it's
think I think I draw the line at the phone booth. Like I can watch the phone booth one. I'm not trying to watch two guys in a fucking car.
dude, it's fucking hilarious.
Um,
But the
I
next one's
think
gonna be
I
like
gotta
them in a
listen.
subway.
No, see, this is what we're not doing. I had to draw the line somewhere. Like phone, you
It's
got me at
Russia,
phone
dude.
booth. I don't care. You got me
It's
at phone
Russia,
booth.
dude. Russia have it to be like, okay, this fight's gonna be if you worked at McDonald's and the guys come in to order a Whopper, and then we say go and you guys just fight over the counter.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, what's the pay like? Oh, $17. It's Russia, dude. Get with it. And you're like, all right, let's go. Yeah, but I'm not really like a big teams person because I always feel like it's too easy to put the blame on the non-important characters in team games. Like
Wait,
it's
what?
always like
You're really
like
about to oversimplify fucking being a fan of of a
oh yeah,
team.
dude.
Go
I
ahead.
just
No,
I don't
I'm
like.
listening. Go ahead. I'm
Oh yeah,
listening.
no, I will. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put it down. I don't like how easy it is to place the blame across the part the across the what is like across the field with everybody. I like it to be where like the responsibility falls on only like two or three people.
No, that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty. Is like it's almost like you're being if you're like a head coach of a team, it's almost like orchestra, like being the conductor in an orchestra or something
Mhm.
like that. It's like making sure that everything is in tune and in shape, and that's the part of
The team part.
yeah, that's the part that is fun.
Let me ask something though. Like
What's
in
up?
team sports, are all the players paid exactly the same, or is there more people that are paid on popularity?
Nope. Yes. Yeah. So nope and yes. So yes, not everybody on the team is getting paid the same. It is a although it is a team sport, it is a business. So they are there to generate money. If someone is generating more money, like it's let's just take us for example. Let's say we're both on no, let's just say we're both in marketing, right? But I am just better at it than you, or you're just better
You
at it
are.
than me.
You are.
Or you're just better at it than I am. However the case may be, you should get paid more than I am. Like that's just the way that it works, and it's the same thing for a sport.
Yeah.
If
I
if,
mean,
if one player is generating more money for that team, then they deserve to be paid more in their contract and their salary.
yeah, I can see that. And that's good base too. Like, when it comes to that, I just sometimes it doesn't, I guess it just doesn't agree with me most of the time when it's based on like strictly the popularity of the character, not based on the skill level of the character.
But what if
But
what if they're generating millions of dollars for your business? Then
well,
what?
yeah, no, I understand that part. Like, I do get that. I just don't really like. I just don't agree to it because it really doesn't like. Other than it bringing money to the table, based on something like this guy's not bringing in the sport itself, not based on skill, not based on anything skill to the sport
You
itself.
could have put a period at the point where you said if it's generating money, because that's it. Like there's no buts, there's no ifs. Is this generating money? Is this bringing more money to my business? That's it. That's all these people care about. Now you can have some fundamental, um, you know, ethical thought
Yeah, like a
on
moral
them
thing or
on
something.
whether yeah
Yeah,
whether it's good or bad. But at the end of the day, it's about money, and
yeah,
that's all that's about. And if
that
you
kind of
understand
sucks.
that, then you can just simplify. It's just that
Yeah. But
we
me and myself, I'm more into like an individual sport. Like,
you really
look
just
at
deep dived into team sports and shit. That was
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, man.
Psychology of following a team and shit.
But
101.
then again, it's like because you could look at the same concept and you look at Conor McGregor, right? Conor McGregor came in and just like wowed everybody with just the WWE spectacle of learning how to talk and gift a gab kind of thing, and everyone else was like, "Yo, I want a piece of that money," and they couldn't get it. They really couldn't get it. There's never been anyone other than Conor McGregor that's made that type of cash.
Dude,
The only
speaking
people
of
that come close are literally like the Paul brothers. Like
speaking
that's
of Conor McGregor, I was on his Instagram just yesterday, and he put up a video of him sparring with some dude.
oh, he works,
And
man.
bro, not even that, but he looks like he got like
Buff.
bigger
Yeah.
pause. Yeah, like he got like huge, bro. Like I don't know. Do you think he still has like a career? Do you think he can come back and do some damage?
Yeah, I mean, those are being a martial artist is a life skill. And I tell people that all the time. Like there's no other skill in the world that's like that. Like you can't go and CrossFit someone breaking into your house. Like you're gonna have to martial arts the fuck out of them in some way. Like you can't. Like I don't care what anybody says. You can't clean and
You-
press someone from breaking into your goddamn house or into your car or anything like that. If you got some MMA in you, if you got some kickboxing, you got some wrestling, you can do that shit.
Why
You
you
fuck
shit?
someone
Yo,
up.
why are you using your platform to shit on CrossFitting, bro?
Other platforms. I'm actually got
That is
CrossFit.
that is
But
so irresponsible of you of the way you're using your publication, sir.
hey man, I'm just letting people know it is a life skill. And what's cool is there's so many opportunities to go out and learn. You can get it expensive or you can get it cheap. Like that, there's no matter. You can even watch YouTube videos, watch some fundamental videos, and just educate yourself a little bit. Like the way you would do Gabe, CrossFit is horrible.
See, look what you started.
Yeah.
Look what you started.
We're gonna
Listen,
have
you give
revolution.
somebody a leading role in an indie project, and now he's just
It's
taking
what it
shots at
is, man.
everything. How
Everything,
you
dude.
take shots at CrossFit, bro?
Fucking Sam Raimi's gonna get it too later. That's so funny, dude.
Shit.
No, but it is what it is. Like it's a life skill. It's something that you will, if you learn to punch correctly, you'll never lose that. Like you'll
Okay.
never know how to not punch. If you learn how to kick, you'll never learn how to not kick correctly. And those are skills that you'll take it anywhere. And in a position of self-defense or someone's trying to, I don't know, fucking sell you tamales and you're not interested, you just kick them or punch them the correct way and it solves the problem. It's
So
just what it does.
so what you're doing is you're advocating for people just to be kicking people that are selling tamales in the head. Is that what you're saying?
I advocate for that every day. Leg kicks for days, dude.
Bro, you are abusing the voice that you have right now. I don't understand what's going on.
It's violence, just pure
And
violence.
look what you did, Vince Weaver, CrossFit trash. LOL.
Yeah, Vince Weaver's gonna get in there too.
He's
gonna give it to him. He's gonna give it to him. He's gonna give him the business. No, but I'm telling you, like, Conor McGregor still has a career in it, but he has learned from Mayweather, as a matter of fact, on how to not need the business to make millions. When he took that fight with Mayweather, it was a debacle, a theater of them putting on a show. But what he was doing was he was learning. No, he was learning how to do the business.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna give you a little bit of pushback on that. Like, I think that, and this is actually a conversation I've had before. It's like, I understand that more eyes were on Conor McGregor because of the Mayweather fight, but I don't necessarily think that it moved the needle as far as his sellability, if that's a word or whatever. Like, I think the reason why Conor McGregor got that fight is because he was Conor McGregor before that fight.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm not taking anything away from him in the business.
I'm just saying, like, I don't know. But I'm saying, like, I don't think he learned that from the Mayweather. He might have. He might have learned that. He might have capitalized. He might have capitalized on that fight. But I think he knew way in advance what he wanted.
But what he needed to do was he needed to figure out, okay, there's a bunch of people I could take this fight from. If I want honor, I can get honor. But it's not about honor. It's like you said earlier, it's about making the money. Like, so he went for the highest grossing paying fight that he could imagine, even though it was such a debacle because no one really cared for that fight in the first place, because it doesn't go both ways.
But that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. No one no, I don't say that, because once I heard that the ink was dried on that, I was ready for that. But for, like,
of course,
for Conor McGregor, that was beautiful though. Like, you get the highest payday you've ever gotten, and you're not even putting your body half at risk.
Yeah, half at risk.
As you would inside of a
and you're Mayweather fighting someone who's never done a professional boxing fight or understands.
It's a win-win.
But the other thing is like, it's not for honor, because the argument after that is, first, Conor didn't give a shit what it made MMA look like. He just did the fight because it was going to make him more than $1 million easy. And then all of a sudden he takes the fight. MMA becomes, this like laughing stock in Vegas, where beforehand MMA was the ruling fighting organization in the world. Anything you wanted to see fighting wise, the pay-per-view numbers were on MMA, not boxing anymore. So what they needed to do is they needed to say, hey, you know what, we need to even the playing field, because boxing is losing its millions when it comes to what it's making. How do we do it? Oh, dude, get the best MMA fighter versus the best boxer in the world. That's like what they did with Muhammad Ali and what's his name? Ronda Rousey's uncle. What's that fucking dude? I forgot his fucking name. The Judo Gene LaBelle. Yeah.
Okay.
So when he fought Muhammad Ali, Gene LaBelle beat the shit out of him. Same thing when he fought Bruce Lee, stunt double guy. But he loved them because, you know, he respected them as martial artists and what they did. But they were two separate entities. You're not going to have Mayweather say, you know what, I'm going to go do an MMA fight because I want to fight the greatest fighters in the world. It's not even the same moral aptitude of what they do for boxing. For boxing, it's like, hey, you want to fight, you need to make money. Like, that's just through and through what it needs to be. Where in the MMA world, it still has that low, like old samurai knowledge where it's like, oh, when you fight, you want to fight the best guys and you want to fight them for honor and all this other stuff. Now it's changing. It's changing to when Conor McGregor came out. Now fighters are like, yo, I want to get that money. I'm tired of, you know, making a little bit of money and Dana White sitting on a pillar of gold. You know, Dana White needs to kind of like pass that money around and give some to the fighters. That's why Jake Paul and Logan Paul, when they talk shit to Dana White and they talk about creating a fighters union, that's why that shit makes so much fucking sense. And that's why everyone agrees with him, because sure, Dana White and those guys, they're a bunch of dudes who've never seen combat and they've all made money based off these guys who've been destroying their bodies. What I meant by Conor McGregor learning is he learned where to place that money so it keeps recirculating and he never has to work again. Mayweather was like, hey, dude, like, you're going to make a couple million. I've done the same thing, but I failed like the way Mike Tyson did back in the 80s and the 90s. I blew all that money on cocaine and strippers, but let me show you. You're going to come in here and I want you to buy this company that sells gin or tequila or anything that's in your nature. That money will then accumulate. You use that as your fighter. Dude, when Khabib was fighting, they had fucking proper 12 all over his face. The dude that Khabib hates the most literally got to advertise all over him. He had to wear his merchandise. He had to promote his merchandise. Like,
Again,
can you imagine?
I think he could have imagined. I think that's what it was. I think everything leading up to that Mayweather fight was planned. It was meticulous. It was well executed. It was all the stuff, and it was, and then that fight was the culmination of everything coming together. And then once he went there, there's honestly, if I was him, I would have retired right after that fight.
Almost have. And then not only that, like now you got fighters that never made the Conor money, but now they're realizing, hey, you know what? I should put my money and make it into like some type of business or something.
This is not what we can't. But see, we can't do that. We can't do that. That's not my fault. Like if I'm Conor McGregor, and I understand what you're saying, but like that's not my fault that you can't be sold. Like you can't sell yourself. You can't make a buck. Like I can't be in the same conversation as you with that. Now, if you want to talk about like inside, fighting, yeah, you may be able to take me, but like you probably will never get that shot because you can't. You're not as marketable as I am.
You're not marketable.
Yeah, so it's
just, that's why it's like you end up seeing Conor McGregor, and he's like he can like literally pick and choose the person he wants to fight.
The Paul brothers, you brought it up. I'm sorry to cut you off, but the Paul brothers, you said it yourself.
Yeah,
it's the marketability.
Yeah, they know exactly what to do. They know the money. They know they know how to make it. I mean, look at how it is. Like these guys, the Paul brothers, have sold out every one of their fights and have doubled their money compared to what the boxing careers have done in the last like 5 or 6 years. Like even the Triple G fight, Canelo fight, did not make anywhere close to the money that the Jake Paul fights are making. Like take home, not even like because they don't really have to pay the commission or they don't have to do anything because they're not having to pay a promotion back. They're not having to pay a promotion money. Like a promotion isn't making money over them. They're literally making all the cash on their own. Like they're fucking smart dudes, man.
I don't know what to tell you, man. You picked the wrong sport, bro. You should have been a fucking boxer. Or you should have been an MMA.
No, I mean it is what it is. I mean, the sport is it's a beautiful sport. And I understand like people like hate the Paul brothers. I think they're smart as fuck. I mean, dude, you can hate him all day. And he's about to fight Anderson Silva. The dude that everyone's like, yo, like he's a shitty fighter. He's about to fight one of the greatest MMA fighters ever to touch the planet. Like that's
I'm not.
That's impressive. I am.
Yeah, no, it's definitely impressive. I don't know if I want to watch it though.
I mean, dude, he knocked out Rashad Evans, and Rashad Evans was literally like one of the apparent best strikers in the sport. So for what he got it dirty. So I think I felt bad for him more than I felt for Ben Askren. For Ben Askren, was just like he looked like he was a tomato can. He was already done. He didn't even train for the fight, so you saw it. Robert says, I was going to ask you guys, Tua Tagovailoa.
Oh yeah, the quarterback for Miami. Yeah,
what happened or what? Oh, he got a concussion protocol.
It was bad. He got, I think it was a sack. He got sacked and he hit his head. He came down wrong on like the back of his head, and you can tell that once he hit the ground, something was obviously wrong, and he had to get carried off in a stretcher. I don't know exactly. I haven't been keeping up with the story. I don't know exactly what was I'm sure they did all types of tests and I don't know what the outcome of that is, but it was a sight to see. He was down for a while. Like the game was on pause for a while. It looked like that was pretty serious.
Yeah.
And prayers to him, like that you don't want to see that. That's the one thing about sports that I don't like is that these people are making millions of dollars, but it comes at a price for sure. So yeah, prayers to him, man. And his family.
Straight, man. Jeez, man, that sucks. Robert also says the greatest story by Gene LaBelle was when he made Steven Seagal shit his pants. Yeah, that's true. Now Jake Paul's gonna fight Anderson Silva next month, and was telling Chris about last week that his brother Logan's fight is fighting for the title at Saudi Arabia with Roman.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's right, because he signed a contract with the WWE, right?
No, he's like an employee. He's a wrestler.
Yeah, he's a wrestler. Hey man, fucking big on him. I know that he did wrestling.
Yo, This motherfucker's making money, bro. Like,
Yeah,
there's
dude.
no denying that. Like,
I know what's crazy
they're
is a
working.
lot of people will look at it and be like, "Oh, well." I mean, it goes back to the idea like wrestling's fake or whatever, or a show, or I don't know what they call it. But you look, and a lot of MMA fighters who retire and want to kind of just keep getting paid, that's what they go to. Like a lot of them go into the MMA community, especially scientific wrestling or catch wrestlers. They're all based on wrestling, so it's just almost like second nature, just a lot more chill. So good on him, man. Conor McGregor will versus Brock Lesnar in a UFC fight. Who would win? Um, it's gonna sound weird as fuck, but if Conor McGregor can keep it striking, Conor would probably beat him. Yeah, because his striking's no joke, dude.
Shut
Like,
up.
no, I'm not even fucking kidding. Brock Lesnar has 0 hands. He almost got taken out by Randy Couture. 0 hands, dude. He's like a fucking muffin, dude.
All right, listen. I know you're a big UFC fight fan, but I
I'm not
watch
a
it.
fight fan. I'm a fight coach. Like,
I,
I'm
I,
not a fan.
all right. Let's just take the coach thing out of it. You are a
Okay.
fan of it, right?
I
And
don't even
I'm a
watch it.
fan, and on that level, I can stand with you because I watch it and I like it as well. But there's no way you're gonna sell me that Conor McGregor could beat Brock Lesnar. There's just no way.
He
Like
has no gas tank.
the weight,
He
the
has no
weight.
gas tank.
But
0 gas tank. He
I
won't
don't
be
know,
able to
man.
last the first round. I'm
Well,
telling you,
what if it
Brock
doesn't? What if it
Lesnar-
doesn't make? What if it doesn't make it out the first round? All right, so then that's
Yeah.
fine. So then the game plan is to take Conor McGregor out fast and quick.
Yeah. the game
I don't
plan
see
would be
Brock
Brock
Lesnar-
Lesnar clinch. Like
No,
that's
but
all
that's
you
what
need
I'm
to do is
saying.
just clinch and wait.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't see Brock Lesnar fucking messing around and letting Conor McGregor just do whatever he wants. Like
Yeah,
you say, he
I
doesn't
mean,
have any win.
well,
So
that's
then
the
we
thing.
don't
No,
have
no.
to use the win. We'll take him out before I lose my win.
Yeah, the thing is like with Conor McGregor, if he can keep the fight striking and make it
But
generally
how do
striking,
you do that with Brock Lesnar though? That's the problem. You can't. Many people have tried. Like there's at no point is Conor McGregor going to be in a situation where he for a whole round keeps Brock Lesnar off of him. Once
yeah,
Brock
he would need to
Lesnar
keep the clinch off. That's the only thing.
once Brock Lesnar gets his hands on Conor McGregor, I think it's over.
Well, that's the thing. Like he would have to be able to defend the clinch, which I mean, Conor McGregor is notorious for being able to defend the clinch up from a standing position. If you take him to the ground, it's worse for him.
So you're telling me that you think Conor McGregor can keep Brock Lesnar off of him for a full round?
I think you click him a couple of times and Brock Lesnar will keep back. Once he breaks the range and he starts hitting him with the close range, like if he starts elbowing and throwing in tight positions and stuff like that, if he can get him to kind of backpedal, that's all he needs him to do.
You got
just get him to backpedal.
You got Brock Lesnar fucked up, man.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, do I think Brock Lesnar would have the advantage? He would have the advantage if he went in straight. Like if he just like bulled in, rushed him, took him to the cage, controlled him a little bit. But you have to understand that the striking is the thing that Conor works with. It's a two different game.
I'm not listening to you anymore. People in the comments, what are your thoughts about this? Tell me, who do you think will win in a match, Conor McGregor or Brock Lesnar? That's a really good question. We should
because it's really just a game based on weight and exhaustion. Right now, Conor, what did you say he was at?
I didn't say. I don't know. I don't care what he's at. I mean, he looks bulkier.
Mhm.
But it's still, again, like Brock Lesnar is just a beast. Like he is literally a house. And you're telling me I'm having a really hard time imagining Conor McGregor keeping Brock Lesnar off of him for a whole round. I mean, I would even dare to say half a round. Like I just don't see how that happens. If Brock Lesnar gets close enough and shoots on him, what is Conor gonna do on that?
He's gonna go down. He sucks at
You're
wrestling.
going
Everybody
down.
knows that.
You're going down. And once you go down, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, once you go down, I don't see how you survive that. I'm sorry. And I like Conor McGregor.
But you don't think there's no possibility that Conor McGregor, being who he is going to be like, hey, you know what? I know this guy's going to shoot in. Let me keep my knees ready. And catch him with a knee to the face. You don't think he'd catch him with a knee to the face? You don't think he'd click him?
He might, but then the conversation turns into, all right, yes, he can get one of those off, but let me ask you a question. Even if he does get the one off, do you think that's going to put Brock out? Because you would need to put him out with that knee.
No, you would need to just put it into him enough that he understands not to fall in. That's the only thing.
That's the game plan, though. I have to go in. So if I have to take a couple knees to go in, I'm going in. I can't fuck around and let this match go 3-4 rounds. I don't, like you said, I don't have the win for that.
Yeah, he doesn't have the win for it.
So we got to end
mentality.
We got to end this in the first or second round. Like this can't go past that. So yeah, I might get clicked with a couple of knees, but I'm coming in.
I think Brock would be the one with the bigger gas tank because he's used to that type of cardio and long work. But the thing is you have to stop the accuracy of Conor McGregor striking. Like
All
that's
right.
just what it is. I mean, that's just through and through. I mean, it's a both ways kind of thing. I've seen people at that weight class like beat the shit out of people that are like at Connor's size, beat the shit out of me. You look at Vitor Belfort. You go back all the way to UFC, like I think it was like 8 or 9, where he beat that big fat Italian dude that was knocking out Tank Abbott, knocked out Big Mountain, knocked out all these dudes. And Vitor Belfort beat the shit out of him. But that's because the guy was just like, oh well, I'm a bigger guy. I'm gonna win because I'm bigger. But it takes accuracy, it takes work. What kind of fight camp would we be pushing for these kind of guys for this kind of fight?
What do you mean?
Like what would be like for you to believe it to be an equal fight? What would you think the fight camp should be? Like, do you think it's like, these guys are going to fight in like 3 weeks, or are you going to give them like a full 3-month, 6-month camp?
I don't know. Normally, if I'm answering this question, my answer would be that they would try to get as close to evenly weight as possible, which I think is so far off. It would just be weird to see them even try. That would have been my only out there. I don't see how you train for either one of them in their camp to go about. Again, it would have to be something simple as Brock Lesnar's training camp would just be him shooting all day, every day. That's it. That's all we're working on this entire training camp. You are shooting until you get him on the ground and then try to end it. That's it. We cannot box with Conor. We can't box with Conor McGregor. Like, that's just not in the game plan. Yeah. I am only half a fan, and I know better than to have that in my regiment, in my training camp. Yeah, like I don't see that being smart at all.
So let me ask you something, because a Brock Lesnar Conor McGregor fight is kind of like that would never even be feasible.
Yeah, it's just hard to see.
Israel Adesanya versus John Jones. What do you think?
Everybody will.
That's been on the line for a long time.
Okay, so I was gonna bring this up. So yes, John Jones is coming up in the next pay-per-view, right? The next one he's gonna be headlining or co-headlining. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm looking forward to this fight. Now, I think depending on how he looks, coming back, will determine whether or not I want to see that fight.
What do you mean?
If he comes back looking sharp, in this first fight that he's coming back, like, okay, if he comes back looking, if John Jones comes back looking sharp and looking, even giving me about 75-80% of what I know him to be, then yeah, I'll be ready to see this fight. But if he doesn't, he looks a little sluggish, he looks a little
like he's getting older.
Yeah, then I would not want to see it. I would quickly realize that the time for me to see that fight has probably passed, and now I don't even know if I want to see it.
I'm trying to see what's the fight. It looks like it's going to be. Is it? No, that can't be it. Who's he fighting next?
John Jones?
Yeah, who's he going to be fighting?
I don't remember who he's fighting. I just know I saw the promotion that Dana White called him and basically said, "Look, bro, you're like the GOAT." And
yeah, for Cyril Gain.
Okay, yeah. So that's his first fight back, and if I'm not mistaken, it should be like the next pay-per-view, the next UFC pay-per-view. He's either headlining or co-headlining, and this is his first fight back. So depending on how he looks in that fight, will determine whether or not I want to see him against Adesanya.
Oh, nice, sweet. Well, I mean, dude, that's even way out there, dude. Like the Israel Adesanya fight's been on the block for 2 years. I'm talking because it's gonna be a super fight. They're gonna have to get him to cut weight both sides, and John Jones just went up to fight in the next weight class up. So we'll have to see how it goes. I mean, just to keep him out of the law is one thing, and then fucking keep him in the UFC is the other.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't worry about him inside fighting.
Yeah, business I don't worry about. It's just life is what I worry about him.
Yeah.
Sal says, I remember in the beginning of the UFC, Paul Verlini, the polar bear, was huge and lost to a much smaller guy. I believe it was Ruiz. Yeah, he kicked Verlini in the thigh to the point where he couldn't stand. Yep, thigh kicking, cutting the tree. Robert says they could just like back in the old days. No, they won't do that anymore. I'll even stop that even before it starts. That's just not gonna happen. You have to go to Russia,
bro. I was gonna say, like, back in the day, I remember watching my first VHS tape of the Ultimate Fighter or whatever it was called back then,
Mhm.
dude, when they would have those tournaments where it'd be like there's no weight class, it's just
Yeah,
everybody
ladder
just,
matches.
dude,
Yep.
that shit was insane, bro.
They used to have a ladder set up. So like what it was like the first two guys fought, the next
Yeah,
two guys fought, the next two guys, and then whoever won would go up and up.
we'll go
In
up.
one night,
And
you're fighting
it's
like
one
8 or
night
9 dudes.
by the final fight, the mat is just covered
In
in
blood.
blood.
Yeah.
Like there's not an inch of the mat where there's no blood. Like that is what I remember it to be back in the day.
Yeah, straight. You're not lying. Vince Weaver says Conor McGregor in the UFC and the WWE. Do you see that happening?
I think he's asking whether or not we can see that. I mean,
I wouldn't put it past him to make the
I
extra
wouldn't put
money
it past
or
it.
something.
Yeah, why not?
In Conor McGregor's like line of business, like it doesn't seem like a bad opportunity for advertisement to show up, do some stuff, and be like, "Yo, get some proper 12 in you" or whatever. Like he would use that just to go out and fuck around with. I think he would do it for advertisement to know the reach of what the WWE has.
Look
Like,
how far we've gotten off track. Like our title of this is the Last of Us trailer, and we really didn't even really talk about the Last
because we're
of
talking
Us.
about the Last of Us in the MMA world, dude. Conor McGregor's the last of them. Who's left? Who's left?
Oh God.
God dang.
Yo, all right. So then enough about UFC. We can all watch it when the fight comes. But okay, the Last of Us trailer, sir.
Yes, okay.
So you asked me if I was a fan of the game. Yes, I am a fan of the game. But you yourself, sir, are you familiar with the game? Have you played the game? Do you like the game?
I'm pretty familiar with the game itself. I thought it was pretty good. I do like that it did give like this Resident Evil vibes, but of course it reminded me more of like Resident Evil 2, like when I first started playing it, more than a lot of the other ones.
Yeah.
Comparing it to like a Resident Evil, I like how serious of a zombie story it is. Like it's pretty much like through and through that these undead creatures are pretty violent and they're pretty straightforward. Like it's not really like the way Resident Evil was, where there were like experiments and there's like some hidden, science thing going on. Like I do understand that the whole thing is like the main girl, Ellie, right? Is her name?
Yes.
Like she has like a specific blood. It's just like every other zombie story where like a young child has a specific blood that caters to the
and she's
like the saving of the human race. Yeah, the human race.
Yeah, we know.
And then it takes like someone's got to like bodyguard her and take her to like a certain point. And then he asks that one question, which is like, well, what are they going to do with her? And then
why is it always some father that lost his daughter due to it's always the same shit? You ever notice that? Like it's always the same shit.
It's because those stories help with the dynamics of like creating the bond between the two characters.
But have you ever really just thought about how we're being traumatized? Not even, but we're just being traumatized by keep seeing a different dad lose another child due to a zombie eating.
And then it's all crazy. Relativity, right? It's always relatable and stuff. Yeah, and then at the very end, the person asks like, "Oh, what are they gonna do with the girl?" And of course, like in every other film, it's, "Oh, we're gonna take a blood sample and then we're gonna make her blood available to everybody, and it's just gonna be okay. Everyone lives." But it's always that, "Oh, well, we're gonna fucking cut her up and dice her up, and she's gonna die for the human race." And the guy's like, "Oh fuck!" It's the train moment. It's the would you take a child off of the tracks to save 7 human beings, or would you save the child and let the 7 human beings die? It's just that it turns into that psychological question. But it never fails. It never fails if that's the way. And that's pretty much the way the story goes. It gets to the end. They take her to the hospital and they're like, "Well, what are you going to do?" "Oh, well, we're going to kill her and take all her blood like vampires and we're going to distribute it all over the world." And he's like, "Bet, can't have that today." That just kills all the fucking doctors and saves her and then has a family out in the farm and says, "Fuck everybody else." Like, it's
always a farm.
Yeah, it's always a farm. Almost very similar to the way it was with The Walking Dead, also with the series, where like someone, like Rick's daughter or someone had like a blood that could save everybody. Remember they were talking about that for a while?
I stopped watching very early on. I think I made it to like season 5 or something like that. But it was so good before that. Like it just started getting a little bit too much. I think Carl, I stopped right around Carl dying and Negan.
That was really weird.
Yeah, and then like Negan, just starting to turn that leaf over. That's where I
To being a
stopped.
good guy, to being
Yeah.
Negan the savior.
Yeah.
That had to be one of the craziest stories because those were not the same as they were in the comics.
I had a really big problem hearing the fact that they were going to turn Negan into a good guy because he had been to a place, as far as I am concerned, as a fan of the show,
Unredeemable.
he went to a place that I would just never accept him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would never accept him as anything other than the guy that bashed Glenn's fucking head in.
Yeah, it's an unredeemable situation. Like you just look at him and be like, dude, like your character's a huge dick. Like no matter where you go.
I will never get over that. I'm sorry
Yeah.
for all you Walking Dead fans that are still watching, or fuck that. Fuck Negan. Like the way that he just ended like a person that was following for like the last like 4 years, just ended him. It was in such dramatic fashion too. That was wild.
I'll never forget the fact that there were so many people watching the series at that time.
Yeah, dude, it broke the internet. Yeah,
it's because that was like literally people watched that to see if it was going to be identical to the way it was in the comics, like to see, and it was like fucking spot on. And the lead up was the crazy part. The lead up was like several episodes before that. It was like Maggie and him talking about like having kids or settling down, and
that's when we should have known. That's when we should have known he was screwed, because like whenever someone's talking about a future, it's over.
Yeah,
like you should already just know that they're getting written off or they're dying. But
yeah,
no, the weird part,
crazy.
The weird thing about Glenn is like I think either a couple episodes before, or maybe like a whole season before, we had thought that he had died already when he was underneath that like that dumpster.
When they went back to the city.
Yeah. We thought he was dead then, but somehow he survived. And then now we're like, ooh, he's not
making it. Yeah,
he's not coming back.
And then everyone was like, what are they gonna do? They can't kill him off because he's supposed to die by Negan's bat.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He did. Then, no, but they did a super good job with that season. Right now, for what it's worth, I really don't know what the fuck is going on. I know they were gonna bring Rick back, they were gonna do all this stuff, but I got super lost in that show like crazy after a while. Like you said, like I kind of fell away during the Carl situation.
Yeah.
When Carl died, because he never died in the comics. Carl's been alive this whole time, and it's like it fed into that theory that the entire show was a narration from older Carl telling the younger generation about his father Rick, who saved mankind, or who helped everybody get into mankind. So, yeah, it is what it is. But
so what do we think about Pascal? Are you anticipating his performance in this? It's a show or it's a movie? What is it? I'm not even exactly sure. It's a show, right?
I believe it's a show. I was really worried that this was going to suffer from what a lot of the different series suffer from video games to film, and they were just going to get it wrong. They were just going to get everything wrong. It was going to turn into like another Resident Evil debacle. I mean, everything suffers from those type of things where they try their best to make these shows and then it gets shit on.
Yeah.
But man, from what I've seen in the trailers, I mean, they look fucking fantastic. And not only that, what's his name? Gabriel Luna's in it, which is the guy that played Ghost Rider in Agents of Shields, and he was in Terminator, the new movie, as the new Terminator. And I was super impressed by his performances so far. And I know them bringing him into it. I think he's going to be a hell of a character. And of course, Pedro Pascal brings in such a tenacity to his acting that it's cool. I can't wait. And then for us to actually get something that's like a zombie film, I feel like it's been a long time. We've been kind of undersaturated on zombie stories. So to see something like Last of Us come out is kind of exciting to see. What do you think of the actress though? Like, since she casually does not look like the character, I think Pedro Pascal looks like the dad character very, very well. A lot of people have been complaining that the character that's playing Ellie does not really look like the character from the video game.
It doesn't bother me. No, it doesn't bother me. Because honestly, as long as she just captures, as long as she gets it right, like I'm fine. I don't care what she looks like.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't know what to expect. I've never really seen this actress before in different films.
And honestly, she kind of does look like her a little bit. I mean, it's not that far off where it's going to take me out of the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that far off.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I think it's all right. when
I'm
I had
trying to
seen
see how
that
many
post,
episodes, but I can't see. I don't know if it says how many episodes this is gonna be.
let me see.
I don't know.
How many episodes of Last of Us? 10 episodes. The Last of Us
10?
will feature 10 episodes in the first season, and there has not been any official for the second season.
Well, shit, man. I mean, it's already greenlit for a second season. It looks like so. That's great.
Sweet. I don't even know. So when are we looking at the show coming out? Oh, release date. Here we go. One. Let me see if I can find this real quick. Release date for The Last of Us as of the time of
It
writing
just
this
says,
series related is 2023.
yes. I was about to say, yeah. It just says 2023. It doesn't say exactly. Doesn't say when it's coming out.
Cool. Well, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
It's looking pretty solid for what I feel. Other news that we've heard from this past week, very casual, and then we're going to go into the bigger stuff. First off, some good news. I feel that's finally some good news coming out of Marvel. It looks like Armor Wars is not going to be a series, but a full-length feature film. Now, I was kind of excited about this because of what happened at D23 and at San Diego Comic-Con, where Armor Wars was literally left out of like the entire list of everything that was slated for upcoming projects. I felt that was very disrespectful to Don Cheadle and his hard work as an actor in the Marvel Universe for him to be left out. It kind of sucks because first off, he's a minor character that's second fiddle to Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. They're going to be building a new character, Ironheart, and this person's already been there, and he finally gets like a series where he gets to kind of like streamline it, and then they don't even like acknowledge it as a series that's coming out.
I don't feel that bad for him. He's gonna be in
Well, he was in Space Jam, so fuck that dude.
but he's gonna be in he's gonna be in Secret Wars. Not Secret Wars, Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
So
and he was in Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, so he's perfectly fine. I'm not worried about him. He's fine. And maybe it didn't come out at D24 because there was probably nothing to show. It could just be that. It could just be that there was nothing to talk about, nothing to show. We already see that we're going to see a lot of Rhodey coming up, and we had seen Rhodey since Endgame, so he'll be fine. I'm not worried about it.
And the other reason why now I'm kind of speculating why it did not get an announcement at D23 was because for this whole entire time it had been shot for a series, and I guess they were still in the terms of saying, hey, you know what, like I think this needs to be bigger, let's make it into a full-length feature film. And it literally got, advertised as a series, and now it made news it being pushed out as a full-length feature film. And I think that's great. I think that's going to build on the Iron Man roster of villains because that's been very dry since Iron Man 2. We had the only character that was really well written, which was Whiplash, in my opinion. And we, of course, Justin Hammer was a really cool villain. I think he's always one that kind of relate back to, if we do not actually, Vince Weaver mentioned this, if we do not get a Norman Osborn, we at least have a Justin Hammer. And Justin Hammer, being some rich wannabe like Tony Stark character, falls in line for the Norman Osborn kind of like way without being a Spider-Man villain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he's a good actor too, the guy they chose for him.
I don't know. I mean, I would love to see Norman Osborn in this movie if he's supposed to be in it. But I don't know, because they're already introducing Norman Osborn in the Spider-Man animated show or movie, or the show that they're coming out with,
which is really weird because it's supposed to be, they're literally replacing him in Tony Stark positions.
Yeah. So I don't, because he's supposed to be like the mentor of Peter Parker in the show. So I don't know if we're gonna get him in this movie. There may be a little bit too many Norman Osborns running around, but I don't know. We never know. But I do see Justin Hammer as a solid choice if we don't get a Norman Osborn in this movie. So
I mean, because think about it, we have like a pretty big roster of villains that we haven't used in the Iron Man universe. And the crazy thing about it is, I was just talking about this yesterday, as a matter of fact. The reason why the government continued to work with Tony Stark is because throughout all of his movies and his writings for his story, the government was never able to get the blueprint for a small arc reactor. They were never able to get that information from him. He's the only one that took that. The only villain that ever had that was Whiplash's character because his father worked alongside his dad.
Yeah.
And he actually had the plans because they both worked on it together. That's what made Whiplash such a formidable foe in the Iron Man universe. Because you looked at the first one, which was cool as fuck to have the Ironmonger, but he had to steal the core from Iron Man in the original suit. Like he couldn't create his own, which made it to be obsolete when he made a cooler, newer variation of the tech he had in his chest in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So when you had someone like Whiplash come in, you know, he came in and he had all his equipment. Tony Stark was like, who the fuck is this guy? And he's cutting fucking cars in half and fucking doing a bunch of cool shit and all this stuff. And then, you know, he gets beat and he dies in his suit and he dies and he takes it to the grave with him. So what's cool is that Rhodey now is in a position that his Iron Man suit, the War Machine suit, is the only one that has a working arc reactor in the center of it.
Yeah.
So if the government takes that from him, which he never allows them to, he only allows them to set it up with newer weapons. He never allows them to take the information. So that's what's cool is that Rhodey is sitting on the opportunity to have the information of Iron Man suits out to the public.
I think Rhodey, from what it's setting up to be, Rhodey is going to be, and again, this is another reason why I don't feel so bad for him, because we're going to be seeing a lot of him. Yeah, we're going to be seeing.
He could be pretty big.
We're going to be seeing a lot of him, I think, moving forward. So
there's even like this weird rumor that Rhodey's character is already a Skrull, and he was already been kidnapped, and his stuff is already out there.
Yeah, the fact that he already knows about the Skrulls implies to me that he's, you know, right up there with Nick Fury as to what's going on, and you know, him being around and just being visible. So I think again, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of him soon.
Yo, what are the odds that we get James Rhodes from the first Iron Man movie back in Secret Wars? I still think it would have been funny if he came out. I know he won't because he's like, fuck Marvel. Like he literally like hates Marvel, like just the whole entire aspect.
Yeah,
of it.
that's
like,
where I was gonna go. I think just Terrence Howard. Yeah, Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
I think just his overall outlook on his experience with Marvel, I don't see him ever coming back. But then again, I'm not seeing him around lately, so I don't know, he could use the work, so who knows.
I mean, I thought it would have been an interesting thing for him to have been in Endgame with the time travel thing. Like they went so far back in time that it was Terrence Howard as War Machine, and I would have been like, that's pretty funny. That's a meta fucking joke. But again, like, yeah, you're right. Like the guy, he had a bad experience when it came to working with Marvel. He felt he was underappreciated and not appreciated by the company. He felt he was super underpaid compared to Robert Downey Jr.'s character. And Terrence Howard did a fucking good job. I mean, he did an amazing job as Rhodey. He always does an amazing job. I think he's a fantastic actor. And I felt like he would have done a really good Rhodey, like just in my opinion.
But see, damn it. See, like I understand, I would need to know this, like the specifics as to like how far off he wanted his payday or his paycheck to be from Robert Downey Jr. because like I can't give you Robert. Yes, you are Terrence Howard. You probably you are an excellent actor, but I don't have it in the budget to give. I can't be paying two Robert Downey Jr.'s. Like we don't have it, and put on a movie that's just strictly CG. Everything in this fucking movie is CG. Like I can't pay it. Like, what do you want me to do? So you know what, Don Cheadle, suit up. Terrence Howard, get the fuck out of here. Like that's just how it boiled out. I don't think anyone is to blame. And not saying that that's what you're saying, but I just don't. You were asking for too much money, and
so it says. Why did Terrence Howard get replaced in Marvel? It says, why was Disney's salary was increased dramatically in Iron Man 2 to a rumored $10 million plus a cutback of back-end profits. That in turn led Marvel Studios to slashing. I'm sorry, I got hiccups because of drink. Studios to drastically slashing Howard's pay to what the actor said was only $40,000 per film. That's a big cut though, man.
I don't know, man.
But I liked his approach to the way that he kept Rhodey. Like, I don't know.
me
I
too.
did like his approach. He had like this kind of like there's always a swagger to the way Terrence like Howard acts, and he carried it very very well. Like I like in the first movie when he sees the silver Iron Man suit, and he's like, next time, next time. Like he knows, man. He knew what was up. I
Yo,
was really
he's a phenomenal actor. Like, I mean, there's not too many bad movies that have Terrence Howard in it floating around out there. So it's like, he did a great Rhodey, but I
yeah.
mean, Moody, I don't know.
Yeah, Don Cheadle, nothing to shit on him. He did an amazing job too. He's kind of pulled it through in every film. He's funny as fuck. I think at Endgame, like the whole entire him, like talking about killing baby Thanos and all that. I mean, he just has his own way of carrying his comedy chops, and he does portray this interesting character. But
I'll say this: I don't think Terrence Howard did a job to the point where when I saw Don Cheadle, I cared, or I was like,
yeah, like
"Oh,
it was
man,
like
I
a
wish."
disapproval or
Yeah,
something.
like, "Oh, I wish I had Terrence Howard doing this role." No, it wasn't like that because you got Don Cheadle, who's also a phenomenal actor. So
Yeah,
it all worked out.
yeah, but Space Jam sucked. Just gotta say that. Just gotta put that out there. Did you watch the new Space Jam?
Of course, I did.
What'd you think?
I wasn't a fan. I think if I were 15, 16, from that age range of like, I don't know, 11 to, 15, 16, I would have loved it.
Okay.
But I was around for the original, and to me that,
Yeah, that
was
was
better.
that was great. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
All right. On to other news. This is something that goes a little bit deeper into the Marvel lure. Of course, it's not the big crazy news that we heard this week that broke the internet, but it's something close to it, which we just heard today. Marvel is rewriting Blade, and we got a new director. So, what do we know about this so far?
No. First off, you have to set up how you told me, because ladies and gentlemen that are listening and or watching, I didn't realize that
Yeah, this was even
I
going on.
all right, so this is what happened. This is like the timeline on what happened, right? So we are in this group chat that we talk about just nerd shit that happens, throughout the week. And it was leaked out that the Blade movie is just a complete mess. It's a
Mess.
complete disaster. It's not going well. Mahershala Ali is upset with how it's being produced and written and handled. Yeah, so he's upset, and the writer walked off or got fired. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. But then as of today, just like a few hours ago, you broke this news to me, sir. And what was it?
Yeah.
Please tell me.
Not to mention that I was using like auto tune on my voice when I was saying this because I was messing with a voice mod when Brian jumped into the
You
chat
guys,
in the back.
listen, I wish that there was like a camera rolling while we're doing our pre-production sometimes, because like I
It's
just need
silly
the
as
people
fuck.
I need the people to understand what I'm dealing with when I'm not on screen, like what I have to put up with behind the scenes, bro. It's the abuse.
You are loved. You are loved, my friend. You are loved.
I'm over here trying to be professional and put together like a decent episode, and I got this guy just in my ear
doing crazy voices and shit.
tweaking and shit. Like, I'm just like, what do you want me to do here, man? I don't know.
It's okay.
I'm lost, man. I'm
Yeah, I
lost.
got this really cool voice mod, so I've been kind of messing with it all day. So I forgot that I had left it on when we jumped into the group chat. So I was doing the stupid voice. And Brian's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, fucking some auto tune action going on," and I was like, "Oh shit, my bad." Like I go to turn it off, and I was like, "Wait,
I was
why do
like,
I gotta turn this off? This is amazing."
all right, so listen, sidetrack, right? So this is my thought process when I first got on, right? I get on, and normally I'm ready to hear that soothed, sultry voice of Chris P, just waiting on the other end of the mic for me. Pause. And I get the synthesizer voice, and the first thing that I thought about, I was like, damn, bro, I'm gonna be hearing a lot of this for like the next half. I just know for a fact.
Oh, that's awesome.
He has a
That's
new
awesome.
toy, and it's just going to be a thing for like the next half hour as we're trying to get through pre-production. That's what I thought.
Hey, it was gonna break the mold, I guess. What was going on with it, I really liked was like this stuff, like the fucking soundboard is what I was really interested in getting. So That's what I'm happy about.
Listen, I'm not reliving this nightmare. So can you please?
I'm sorry.
What
Okay.
what were you telling me as you were telling me in your Syntho voice?
That apparently Blade has now gotten a new director in the form of Doctor Strange's 2 Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi is going to be the new director for Blade. And man, was that like a get the fuck out of here moment? Like, shut up, dude. That is not even real. And yeah, lo and behold, he finds it and he gets into the Google and just automatically goes after that shit. And yeah, it ends up being true. So right now, as of today, it looks like Sam Raimi is the new director of the Blade Marvel movie. And I want to ask anybody out there in the comment section, and Brian, you too. What are your guys like? What are your guys' thoughts on this? Because this is actually pretty fucking important. Like, to bring someone in like Sam Raimi, and you asked a really good question. You were like, okay, well, why is this bad though? Like, what do you feel like? Why do you feel like Sam Raimi may not be a good director for this film? And I said, it kind of goes in the same realm of how would we feel if Quentin Tarantino directed The Little Mermaid? And you were like, yeah, that sounds stupid as fuck. Like, there's just something about the person's style and skill that sometimes it does not follow the same theme or path of the character's story. In Doctor Strange 2, I think that's what it suffered from the most is, like, I think we said this a couple times, not saying that we're not fans of Sam Raimi, because I'm a huge fan of the Army of Darkness and the Evil Dead series, but like, did he do a good job when it came to Doctor Strange 2, or was it not just done correctly because it was too Sam Raimi? And I think that's something that we all catered to, where the idea, you had heard it in many comments where people were like, it was too Sam Raimi. And I just don't understand what that means. Because it's like, what does that mean? Does that mean they allowed the director to have such an impact on the story that the company itself was like, oh, fuck us, don't worry about us, you just do what you want to do, buddy, because we need you. Like, Marvel doesn't need any of these directors. They can go with many different directors, but there's a reason why they keep choosing them. And I want to know, like, what is it that you guys think? Gabe asks, are we going to get another Bruce Campbell cameo? Yeah, he'll be like Dracula, or he'll be a vampire in some weird way.
There is 1,000,000% chance we are getting a Bruce. He will find a way to put this guy in any one of his movies.
He'll be a pizza guy.
Listen, let's just backtrack a little bit, because I just want to let the people know that are listening and watching. When you told me this news, my reaction was like, no fucking shot. Like, this is fake news. I don't know where you got your source. Like, I don't know where you got the source from. And then lo and behold, we go and look up. It's the source that is given credit is Variety. So I got to take that for what it is. I'm like, all right, so this is a thing. And so I thought it was very important. And I honestly, I kind of wish I kind of saved the question, because I wanted to have that like on camera. And I'm hoping that we can still kind of capture that type of, because that was a really interesting conversation. Because like when I'm reading this headline, and I'm like, okay, let's dissect this really quick. Like, why do you think, Chris, Sam Raimi is a bad choice for Blade? Because we just saw, what he did in Doctor Strange 2, and we both voiced our opinions on why we felt as though that didn't necessarily work, or why it was a little bit too much. But why on this one do we think it's a bad look? And I kind of got to a point where it was like, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, I would have rather have just this been the plan from Jump Street, that he was gonna do Blade as opposed to doing Doctor Strange 2. Because I think that a vampire movie would be more his lane than being in control of what's happening in the multiverse and multiple superheroes seeing each other. And that was just a little bit of a harder sell for me as a fan. Just like you said, I am as well a Sam Raimi fan. I just don't think it worked in the Doctor Strange movie. I think this would have been, if this was announced, like, let's say last year, I think it was either last year or the year before that at D23, that this was announced, that the Blade movie was being announced, and Mahershala Ali came out with the Blade hat. If he had walked out with Sam Raimi, that would have been like, holy shit! Like
Yeah, they would have been like, oh fuck, yeah.
We're getting a Sam Raimi Blade. I think that would have been a better choice in the situation. And to be honest, I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit scared because I want this to do. I am a huge fan of the original Blade trilogy, and I just don't want this to be bad.
Yeah, because right now it's we're on the path of Sam Raimi with what he did with Doctor Strange 2, right? Doctor Strange 1 was a great movie. Doctor Strange 2, I felt, did not reach the potential of Doctor Strange 1. It kind of missed the mark. And a lot of people blamed it on the idea that it was Sam Raimi's fault. And I don't think it's his fault, because the director is just brought on to do a job for a company that has a bigger plan. And I just think it was one of those things that, if I'm not mistaken, the way it happened was they lost the director originally to Doctor Strange 2, and they were like, fuck, what do we do? And Sam Raimi was like buying burgers or something, and they just ran into him, and they were like, oh shit, you're a director, aren't you? Like, and then they brought this guy on to do Doctor Strange 2. I kind of feel like that's kind of like the way it went. But the problem is what I was telling you off camera is that I always feel like Sam Raimi does not do complex characters correctly. I think he needs to have a real simple character driven line. And the thing about it is Blade is very simple. It's run and gun. There's a vampire. They drink blood. They're assholes. He doesn't like them and he wants to kill them. And that's it. In Doctor Strange 2, you had a character like Wanda who generically isn't bad, but she's bad driven by her powers and the desire to have her children back, which isn't a bad thing to want. But then to be like, but you know what? I'm willing to take the entire multiverse down to get my kids back. And it's like, well, that's kind of bad. And then you have to kind of play that off. And I just don't think Sam Raimi writes complexities like that, to the idea that he has to get the audience to understand this person is a good bad or a bad good. Like, they're not neutral. They're not like right in the middle. There is a complexity to it. And I don't think he writes well. I don't think he creates those characters that well. If they're simple, they're great. Like, you look at fucking Bruce Campbell in Army of Darkness or Evil Dead, you go back to Evil Dead 1. It's 4 kids go to a cabin to go on vacation. There's an evil spirit that possesses all 3. All 3 of them want to kill, but Bruce Campbell is such an athlete or a spectacular person that he's able to defend himself, but he is riddled by the zombification of his friends. Nobody there is like good and evil at the same time. No one's really complex. Like, there's nothing complex. Even if you go back all the way to the Army of Darkness film, like, there's nothing complex about that film.
So that's what I was gonna. I mean, honestly, I think that's some of his actually good or best writing that he's got. Was those earlier films. And we were talking again off camera, and I was saying, you know, Raimi isn't known for his writing. He's not known for his scripts. It's not known for, it's known for what it's known for. And I think that being that he was in charge of, because like, all right, like we've already established, he has his own quirks and his own way of shooting and his own, brand, basically. I don't think that it necessarily matches with every writer. You can't just get a random writer and pair him with Sam Raimi and think that it's going to be automatically good. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I think that he either needs to write it, or he needs to have somebody that he's very familiar with writing for him, who has the same vision as him. So I think that if you put that together with this Blade movie, it could turn out well. But I think that if you do the same thing you did with Doctor Strange 2, where you just have some rando writer, whether it be a known writer or not, and just try to throw it together with Sam Raimi, I don't see how that works.
Yeah, like right now I'm really up in the air about it. I don't know how I feel yet about Sam Raimi taking over the Blade movie. That's because, so as a matter of fact, we were talking about this earlier. The Blade movie itself was gonna be based in like the 1900s. Or 1908, or like just some weird ass timeline that the normal casual person that knows Blade has never
seen him in.
Like, we all just know him as Wesley Snipes, hip hop killing vampire dude that's just a plain badass martial artist.
And it's usually like set like in the setting is usually like in the future. It's not in the past. It's more
Yeah,
like
it's
either
like a Neo Blade Runner kind of vibe.
yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what we're kind of hoping that. I mean, hearing when I had heard that before, and it was like, oh, Blade's going to be based in the 1800s. I was like, I am already disappointed. Like, I was already in this point where I was like, oh, they're gonna make it to where these characters were around for 14,000 years and they've been hunting vampires. And I was in my mind, I'm like, come on, man, like just give us what we want. Like, is it so hard to give us what we want? I mean, right now, I would just want to see like just give us a setup for like you could even say the original 3 movies of the Blade movie are still canon, and that Blade has still been going around. Like, yes, he's a different character because of X, Y, and Z, or just age. You don't even have to explain it. They didn't explain it for Don Cheadle. They just Harren's Tower, Don Cheadle, Mark Ruffalo, Edward Norton. They didn't have to explain that shit. They just did it.
There's a lot of time that's passed by. You know what? I would love to see Wesley Snipes in an upcoming MCU movie, but he's just not the same Wesley Snipes anymore.
No,
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know if that's gonna happen. But you know what? Vince asked. You know, Vince always comes through with these questions.
Yes, he does.
He's good for a night, and this one is actually pretty good. If Marvel hires Zack Snyder in a project, what character do you see him going for, sir?
Oh shit, Ghost Rider. Yeah, I would like to see him in like the Midnight Suns. I think him doing like a darker variation of characters is probably going to be his best effort. I think if you give him something to go dark or supernatural, I'd be like, if I gave you a Guillermo del Toro, what would you want to put him in? You're not going to put him in a fucking, I don't know, Iron Man movie. You're going to be like, nah, put him in something dark and mysterious. Put him in Moon Knight. Put him in Blade. Guillermo del Toro as a Blade director. Shit, I'm down for that. I would love to see that.
You know what? I'm thinking about it, and Zack Snyder's got a thing for like zombies and shit. So why not hire him for the Marvel Zombies movie or the Marvel Zombies show? And now rather than going for one character, you're going for all the characters.
Yeah. I was even gonna say like having him come in and do an Avengers movie like the way they did Joss Whedon, and being like, hey, you know what? Well, Joss Whedon, we're not working with him too much, and DC's not working with Zack Snyder. Let's do Zack Snyder Avengers. Let's see where he takes it. Even if he does the Thunderbolts. Like if he does something dark, like I'm down. Like anything that has like a grittiness to it, I would be really cool for. See, and that's why I love Sal. Sal came right in and he put, "What if Henry Cavill does come to Marvel? What do you think of all that?" And he's like, "There is a rumor Henry Cavill is going to come in and play Marvel's Hyperion." Every week we got to talk about Hyperion. Every week. Brian's got to be tired of this shit by now. I swear he's got to be tired of it.
It's not that. Honestly, I wouldn't mind him coming to play Hyperion, but I don't know. I'm just confused.
It's too cliche.
It's not even that though. I'm just confused as to what Henry Cavill is doing. I don't know what he's doing right now. Like if he's going to reprise his role as Superman, then he's for sure not coming to
Marvel at all.
I
wonder if this motherfucker's just waking up and just kind of like doing the evil fingers, and he's like, "What am I going to tweet about today? What am I going to tweet about? Am I coming out in Black Adam? Oh, bet you that'll let me go ahead and post up some weird meme of The Rock and me hanging out at Starbucks or some shit." Like it's like every day he's got to post up some weird shit. So it's like the thing that came out last week was apparently Henry Cavill's going to come out in a post-credit scene with Black Adam.
Yeah.
And Gal Gadot, I mean, that makes more sense to me. Gal Gadot coming out in a Shazam thing. That'd be cool. Shazam. It's really funny because they always do this thing where Shazam, Billy Batson is attracted to the older women in the Justice League. And then like later on, they're having like a Justice League meeting and Batman pulls the reins on it and says, "Oh, well, that's because Billy's a 15-year-old kid. Shazam's 15. And they're like, "Excuse me, you're 15?" And he's like, "Oh, you're not supposed to tell anybody." And like, you know what I mean? Like, it's always a really cool ongoing joke in the Justice League with Shazam liking the older chicks. So to have Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman show up more than Superman would be pretty awesome in Shazam. And not only that, it's like I've said before, I think I've said this like 2 weeks ago, that Gal Gadot's been pretty quiet on what it is they're doing, and they haven't mentioned anything of Wonder Woman in the Justice League DC universe. Like, it's been fairly quiet on her world, and she never really did anything wrong. She's just waiting for, when do I show up to film kind of thing. I feel bad for her, man. because she's done an amazing job as Wonder Woman. She's literally built for it, man.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for any of them. They're making a lot of money. They'll be fine.
No, but like for this whole entire aspect, there was this whole thing that we've talked about this before, where they're not going to use the Snyder cut. They're going to cut everybody. And Gal Gadot literally going from the Fast and the Furious franchise to Wonder Woman. That's a huge.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what that means. If we're saying that she's coming out or she'll be in what movie that she'll be in? No, if she's coming, if she has a role in what movie did you just say Gal Gadot's coming out in? Shazam. So if you're saying that she's coming out in Shazam and Henry Cavill's coming out in Black Adam, what are you feeling sorry about for him for? Like they're still there, so there's still a chance for them to come back.
Yeah. And I think it's like we were talking about where they're going to use like the release of the Whedon series. Like that's kind of going to be like their go-to without there being a future written in stone like the way Zack Snyder had. That's just my opinion on that. But yeah, going all the way back to what we were talking about. We always get super sidetracked. Marvel's Blade is something that I feel it has a huge fan base, man, and they really can't mess this up. And I think the validation of you feeling like I'm kind of worried about this I think the validation is 100% correct. I think right now, from the way it's starting off pretty bad. I think they need to get their shit together because it's sounding like there's a lot of stuff right now at Marvel that's kind of falling apart at the seams, and I think they need to be very careful. Because how do you come in from this kind of news and then tell us to be excited for like Kang and Ant-Man, the Black Panther 2 film, and all the other stuff that they're trying to push that's going to be a success? Being that right now Phase 4 has been all over the place with the way people have been accepting it. So, I mean, that's just my opinion. Yeah. What about you? What do you think?
I'm not nervous at all. Like it hasn't even started production yet. Like it hasn't even started shooting yet. So if they're gonna reshoot or if they're gonna rewrite it, you have a brand new blank canvas. So if you felt as though you had a good foundation before, you just make another one, make another one and you'll be fine. So I don't have any I'm not nervous at all for anything that the MCU has for the future. As a matter of fact, with the reviews of, the early reviews of Night by Wolf, Wolf by Night, and just their whole demeanor going forward after Black Panther being the last, because Black Panther is going to be the last movie in Phase 4. We're moving, and that's in November. So December, January, we're in Phase 5. I am into like everything that we saw at D23. It has me interested. So I don't have any reservations about anything in the future. But the only thing that I do that I am worried about is that along with this not Sam Raimi, but the whole debacle of the original Blade script and what's happening with Mahershala Ali and his frustrations, is that another one of the comments made about this whole thing is that a lot of people are worried that Kevin Feige is spreading himself too thin and that he is burnt out and he may need, a break. Oof. That's the only thing that is I kind of am a little bit keeping an eye on. Everything else is going to be fine.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. I think that's something to keep an eye on. That sounds pretty bad. That sounds really fucking bad. Because it's like, who else do they have that can kind of take the reins under him? So
yeah, it's weird.
Sal then says, Vince Weaver says Henry Cavill is James Bond. I believe that's in the talks. Is that something they're going with? I thought I heard something about that.
I don't think I've heard that. I don't know.
He says we need Ray Fisher in the Flash movie. Ray Fisher Cyborg. I mean, it would be cool if they brought him back. I thought he did a good job. So, and they did a pretty good explanation of his character better in the Snyderverse. Sal then says, I wasn't happy with the Submariners' backstory. Wasn't fond of them asking the Aztecs, or wasn't fond of them making the Aztecs the bad guys. Correct me if I'm wrong. Backstory. I'm not really sure how they're going to do it yet.
So I'm saying, like,
it's still kind of up in the air.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what the story is.
Yeah.
Well,
From what
actually, no, we do know what the story is, and it doesn't feel as though, from what I've heard, from the way that it was written, that yes, I guess the people of
Aztecs.
Atlantis, the people of Atlantis can be considered bad guys, but they have a reason for what they're doing. It's almost like it's a justification as to why they're attacking, and so I guess we just have to wait to see what it looks like on the screen before I can.
Yeah, because I was going to say it really hasn't come out much. It's just that one of the characters that's Atlantean kind of tells Namor that the reason why they're in trouble is because of what Wakanda did, and then they go after Wakanda for it or something. It's very vague. I think it's kind of weird for them to be trying to like explain a whole new race of people that have been on this planet for such a long time, and then be like, oh well, Wakanda came out to the nations, so now these people want to come after us, and it's like nobody even knew you were in the water, dude. Like, nobody knew
But
you were there.
I think that's what they're gonna. That's what they
That's kind of
exactly.
like what it's close, yeah.
That's what they're going to explore on, is that, hey, you guys are making these deals with these nations and bringing people over here. We're right underneath you, and you're bringing people over here. We can't have that. So
yeah, it's going to be something in that nature, but yeah, we're all looking forward to it. I think that's probably going to be the most anticipated movie of the Phase 4 films. I mean, we talked about this a long time ago, literally after the passing of Chadwick Boseman, a couple of weeks after, and we were saying like, that's probably going to be the most anticipated film to see how Marvel as a company handles the passing of Chadwick Boseman. So that's going to probably be one of the most historic.
Yo, did you hear about what the runtime is for this fucking movie?
No.
Dude.
2 hours? Tell me it's longer than 2 hours.
Bro, it's like 3 hours. This movie's 3 hours long.
I'm about that life.
It's a little bit under 3 hours.
I could take it.
They just came out with the runtime. I think it's like 3 hours, more or less.
Good shit. Yeah, because that's that runtime they didn't give the Thor, dude. I'm about that life.
Fuck you.
But I'm about it. As a matter of fact, this is exactly what we're going to be talking about. Sal says it right here. Calling it now, Marvel movies this year, Deadpool 3. So one of the biggest things that happened this past week was we had an early/late announcement from the man, the myth, the legend, you hate him, you love to hate him, the compulsive masturbator, Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, he came out and admitted that they are doing a Deadpool 3 and he wants to do it fantastically, and then says that he doesn't know what he's doing and he sucks at it. But then all of a sudden, in the background of his video, walks Hugh Jackman, and he's like, hey, Hugh, you want to be in my movie? And Hugh Jackman's like, yeah, whatever. And he's like, bet. And it's probably one of the coolest things that's ever broken the internet this week. We got confirmation that Hugh Jackman is going to be in Deadpool 3. How do we feel about this?
I mean, I
don't know what else to feel. Yeah, dude, I'm so blasted by this that I don't even know what to expect. I think it's so crazy that Marvel was like, yeah, Ryan Reynolds, like, well, you advertise the way you want to advertise. We think you're successful. You do it the way you do it. And he pulled off this crazy ass fucking thing. Like literally, like didn't even have to hold back that, Wolverine was going to be in it.
Yeah, I think this is a really fresh way of presenting, a splash, or presenting news. Something like I'm pretty sure this deal got done relatively recent.
Oh wow.
No, I think that this was done. If this was done early, we would have known by now. There would have been a leak. There would have been something. I think like this happened recently, and they had maybe like a 2-week window before this was going to get leaked.
Mm-hmm.
And they just put that together. Like they put that together immediately and sent it out. And I think that's refreshing. Like, Marvel taking the approach as, you know what, listen, this is what we got, and this is what you guys have to look forward to. And now up until the time that we have this movie done, this is what you got to look forward to. Like, what's coming, no guessing. We're not going to do like a whole Spider-Man No Way Home thing where now you're guessing and thinking Tobey Maguire's in the movie and he's saying like, no, I'm not in the movie. But yet we have stills of you in a fucking Spider-Man fucking costume. Like they're telling you right now, this is what's going to happen. This is what this movie's going to be. And I think that's pretty dope.
I like the way Sal's like, yo, I don't even think they ever said Wolverine was in it. Just Hugh Jackman. Can you imagine if they just brought in Hugh Jackman in the film and didn't claim him to be Wolverine? That would be a fucking Ryan Reynolds move, though. That'd be a hard Ryan Reynolds move.
Yeah, I think this is a really good look for everybody involved. Again, I was telling you off mic, there is a interview that I saw while I was watching the Den of Nerds. I'm not exactly sure which episode it is, but it's one of the more recent ones this week. It might have been the one that's talking about this breaking news that he, is confirmed to be in Deadpool 3. And it's an interview that Hugh Jackman gave, I want to say recently, where he's talking about Kevin Feige specifically and how it would feel to be in the MCU. And it's amazing to hear Hugh Jackman just gush over Kevin Feige. Like, these guys are friends, and we already know the relationship that Hugh Jackman has with Ryan Reynolds. So the three of them making this movie is gonna be like a good recipe. I think this is gonna work. This is gonna really work.
And not only that, like allowing the opportunity for Ryan Reynolds to kind of like embed his own ideas into what they think that they should do with the film, I think is a really great idea too. Like if they allow him in some of the creative process, I think they're really going to do well.
Dude, I went so far down the rabbit hole on this once I heard it that I ended up at some guy's YouTube page, or actually, you know what? It was even another. It might have been another Den of Nerds podcast. I watch a lot of them. Watch a lot of those podcasts. And they actually had a guy, because like if you watch the I guess they had like a 2-part release of that,
Trailer.
Yeah, whatever. And they had a guy reading both of their lips as to what they're saying when the music is playing. It's like the wildest thing. And like as they're talking, because you can't hear what they're saying in this shot, you just hear like music playing, and they're actually supposedly telling you the script of what this movie, or
like what it's going to be about or something.
Yeah, like what their pitch is for this movie. And there's a guy that has a YouTube out there that was reading their lips. And crazy. You can tell, like, it's almost like he got it spot on. And there's some theories as to what is happening, because I think like they really do tell you the plan for this movie. It's wild. It's really wild.
So what do we have for an idea for what's going to happen then?
There's going to be a lot of time traveling. It's going to be a lot of multiverse shit happening. There's going to be multiple Wolverines. I think there's going to be multiple Deadpools. And it's going to be like a buddy cop, from what I'm hearing. It's going to be like a buddy cop movie. They're just going through time, and it could be that they're killing their versions of themselves, some shit like that. So I don't exactly know. But if you guys look it up, just Google it. There's a YouTube out there, and it's freaking wild.
So the guy just reads the lips and then says, so what did he kind of like casually
say? He voices over. I can't remember exactly what he was saying because it's like a long clip, but like he's voicing over, using his voice over what they're saying, and he basically explains the entire movie.
Damn, that's crazy. I wonder what they're going to do though, because the idea is, okay, like we have Deadpool and we have Wolverine, two of, if not the biggest Marvel characters in the X-Men franchise, in the mutant realm of the Marvel franchise. And we're about to be introduced to them in a couple of movies. Well, they said, what, 2024? 2 years. No,
2025. 2025.
Damn, that's a long time. Yeah, 2025 that we'll get these guys. So we have about, I would say about, what, 6-7 movies in between here and there? I would say about roughly. What do we think about this? Because now we know that there's going to be the introduction of the Marvel, the mutants now. And I guess if you want to be technical, like, oh, we have mutants because Kamala Khan's a mutant. Yeah, I guess, whatever. I don't really subscribe to that. I still think that's a really cheese cop-out, and they should have just written her character that way if that's what they wanted. We do have the birth of Namor, which is coming out literally at the ending of Phase 4, who is officially the first mutant in comic books, now the second mutant because Kamala Khan is the first. And then we had the introduction of Charles Xavier during Doctor Strange 2, so we know that they're out there somewhere. But how do we feel like this is going to happen? Because the last time we saw both of these characters, Deadpool was with Cable and Domino. Cable can time travel. We don't know if he could travel between the multiverse. We just know that he can time travel. And we do know that Deadpool stole his time traveling device.
Yes.
2, Wolverine, we don't know the time period. I think it was 2026 or 2029. But Wolverine is dead and buried in a forest, and his daughter.
So that was one of the. I'm sorry to cut you off. That was one of the things. Now that you mention it, that was one of the things that is kind of said during the lip reading thing. It's that Hugh Jackman says, and I'm in my prime, kind of alluding to the fact that it's going to be a younger
before that
version. We're not getting old man. We're not getting old man Logan in this movie. We're getting more of a younger Fox X-Men version of Wolverine.
Maybe like a Days of Futures Past kind.
Maybe something.
Maybe around that time.
Yeah, something around there.
Okay.
And that's one of the things being speculated as well.
I mean, I can see that. I mean, fucking Hugh Jackman is not at all in his prime when it comes to like the way he looks physically. He does look like he's kind of aged a little bit more. Let's see.
I just saw him the other day, and no homo,
he looks
but
great.
He looked good. Yeah, he looked 53. He looked good, bro. So it was like,
you know what? As a matter of fact, I mean, he's 53, and if you look at the ages of the Avengers ages. I was trying to go for the actors, but because if I'm not mistaken, I think how old are the Avengers? Fucking Robert Downey Jr. is like, he's 57 years old, dude. So Hugh Jackman is still way younger than Robert Downey Jr. and he's doing an amazing job as Iron Man. So I think he still has a good amount of time to play Wolverine in his prime, or at least in the age that he can pull the character off fairly well.
Yeah.
So 53 is not bad. And then you have Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is a fucking specimen when it comes to being in shape all the time. So he'll be wearing he'll be in his Deadpool outfit looking pretty badass. I think it's good. I think it's cool knowing that he's going to be coming in the MCU. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Hugh Jackman said at one time that he would love to be able to come and play or reprise the role of Wolverine, not with Fox, but if he was able to be with the Avengers or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So it's cool to see that he is kind of like lively about being this character. There's a lot of people that were like, oh, let this guy retire and just let him retire. That's the way I am with Sir Patrick Stewart. Like, I'm like, dude, let Charles Xavier retire, dude. Like, quit bringing him back to die every 4 seconds. Like, just leave him alone. Let him live his life. Let him live his life a little bit better. He's old already. Just leave him the fuck alone. They brought him.
I understand that, but it was cool though. Like, that was for me. It's one of the highlights of Doctor Strange 2. So I mean, I get it that everyone's saying it, but for me personally, I mean, I like him as he is. For me, he is Professor X. So also another weird thing that was said recently was from Elizabeth Olsen. She was somewhere and they had a conversation about her role moving forward in the MCU, and she was explaining that she would it was when she was hearing about Hugh Jackman being in the MCU now. Whoa. And Elizabeth Olsen said, that's great. I would love to be in a movie with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but what's more interesting is, and this is her talking, she's saying like even more interesting is that if we have him from the Fox universe in the MCU now, then other people will be in there. And she kind of alluded to Magneto being one of the
that's got to be the one thing that I hope they fucking do in some way.
So yeah, that's why she's excited, is that now that you're bringing the Fox characters over, you can bring either iteration of Magneto over as well. So that's these actors and actresses, they are like on board, like they get excited for like this type of shit, and that's what gets me excited is when I see Hugh Jackman gushing over Kevin Feige and saying that when he goes or that back in the day when Kevin Feige hired him as the the original movie for X-Men as Wolverine, he goes into his office and on all his walls were to like wall to wall comics and comic books, and just him seeing how dedicated Kevin Feige was to the process and what his vision was from day one. Like, this is what gets me excited, is like, now that same person is having another go at it with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Like, that's pretty inspiring. So I don't know, I just think that's pretty cool.
I think that's fucking awesome. I mean, I'm super excited. I mean, my thing is, like, right now in the process of it, we have Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine. I have to ask this to everybody in the comments, and then of course yourself. Like, are you in the realm of saying, I want Hugh Jackman here and I want him here for the trilogy, or like I believe someone put in the comment section, sooner or later we'll have to recast him? Do you want it to be where Hugh Jackman comes in, does a one and done, and then says, "Cool, I'm out. Laters, guys. It's nice to see you, but I'm gonna leave it to someone else"? Or do you want to see a couple of Hugh Jackman films as Wolverine, and then of course have him bow out several films later?
Listen, there's been talks about people and actors that would be up for the role as Wolverine, and there's a few that I like. So, and I never thought, honestly, I really never thought I would ever get another Hugh Jackman Wolverine again.
Yeah.
So now that it's here, I'm just gonna enjoy it. I'm not gonna think about how many times I'm gonna see him or if I want to see him. I'm just gonna take it as it is. Like, if I get him for more, I'm all for it. Like, there's never gonna be a situation that I'm hearing that he can come back for the role and I'm gonna be like, I think it's too late. I would rather listen, I will watch him as long as he's willing to do it. So,
That's good.
and honestly, I'm also in favor of them moving on and finding another one. Maybe this is what this is going to be about. Maybe this is going to be him handing off the torch to a different Wolverine. So who knows, man? I'm just going to enjoy the ride on this one. Like, that was pretty cool.
Where do you feel that this takes the idea of the mutants in the next couple of years? We do know that at the ending of this whole entire phase is going to come Secret Wars. My theory has always been there's going to be different teams of characters that are going to be put on this world, and then they have to battle it out or come together to fight the bigger baddie. And then at the end, they get consolidated into the new world, and then all of them are there all of a sudden.
Okay.
But how do you feel like this is all going to come together? Because we do know that Secret Wars is the end game of this universe, or that we do know that it's the end game of the saga. How do you feel this all reigns, knowing that we're going to get like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine coming in and Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool? What are the possibilities for this? Because there's a possibility we could get like the Fox universe versus the Marvel universe, and all the actors from that time come back, and then they consolidate them and then just recast them into a different realm. If I'm not mistaken, I believe most of the actors from the X-Men First Class film were like, "Yo, where's my phone call? I can't wait to put my character in the Marvel universe." So we do kind of have this realm where we do know a lot of these actors from the Fox universe are willing to make the transition. But you look at like the Fantastic Four from back in the day, like they're not going to come back. They're already older. But I mean, they could still come back. Jessica Alba, or what's her name?
Okay.
Like, would you like to see the older characters, or would you like to see a whole new generation of characters?
Well, first, your first question, I think the I guess it's unlimited. They're basically starting from scratch, and now they're introducing at least one of the Fox Marvel characters, and I think that when you get, again, I don't know if I said it on screen or off screen, I think that when you get all three of them, Kevin Feige, Ryan Reynolds, and Hugh Jackman, I just think that that's a recipe for a great time. And now you're asking me if I want to see the older versions or a newer version. Again, from the First Class, I could do with the recast, but if I don't, I'm fine with that as well. I don't think they did a terrible job to where I wouldn't want to see another movie with them. I don't like the taste I have in my mouth for the last X-Men movie that came out. I didn't care for it, and I would like to see them get a redo as their final, if it's going to be like their final run. So I wouldn't mind seeing a younger version, but also don't mind seeing the
previous one. Yeah, the class. Like, because my thing is like, okay, you still got a lot of these characters, like the guy who played Scott Summers in the original Fox film with Wolverine and all that other shit with Hugh Jackman. Like, all of these guys are still around. That dude's literally coming out in the new Enchanted. Is that what it is? Unenchanted, or what's that movie? Do you remember that movie? The one that's Enchanted, or what is it? The one that's in New York where the chick's like a princess or whatever? Come on, we just saw it at D23. They're doing a part 2. Is it Unenchanted, or what is it? Enchanted.
Is it there's some Disney shit?
Yeah, it's
what's it about?
It's James Marsden.
What's it about?
It's the one where the chick is like a Disney princess, but she goes to a portal and comes to like New York, and she's like, yeah, it's called Enchanted.
No, I get that, but why would you think I know that?
Oh, I don't know. I thought you just would know movies. Everybody knows this movie. It's a good movie.
I've never heard of that movie before in my
funny.
life.
It's funny. You should watch it. I think you'd dig it. I think you would laugh your ass off. But James Marsden is the guy that played Cyclops in the original Fox X-Men group.
Okay.
So he's still around. He's still a young cat. He's fairly a little bit, I think like maybe 1 or 2 years younger than Hugh Jackman. So like bringing him to be Cyclops in the Secret Wars movie, and then bringing in the cast of First Class as a younger generation of the X-Men cast in Secret Wars. Well, what do you think that could be like a crazy, like, holy shit, like
we've already saw that. We already saw that though in the Age of the Apocalypse movie.
No, it wasn't Age of Apocalypse. It was Days of Future Past.
That was the Apocalypse movie, right? That was the one where the
Apocalypse
old
was Apocalypse. Yeah, Apocalypse was Apocalypse. Days of Future Past is
Days of Future.
Wolverine.
That's the one.
Wolverine goes in between.
See, we saw that though already. We saw we
saw them working together, right? We saw them kind of casually working together in those.
We already saw that, and it worked. So I mean, why not just do it again, dude?
But bring them into the fucking Marvel universe and have them like casually get to be like, hey, that's the younger generation and the newer generation. Yeah. What characters? Okay, but what do you do with the Fantastic Four? So with the Fantastic Four, we have the older generation, which those people are, I mean, they're casually older, but they can still probably pull it off. And we have the younger generation, which is the one that has Killmonger. And then
none of the iterations worked, so just recast.
Just recast the Fantastic Four?
Simple, yeah.
And then I believe I saw this in the comment section. Vince Weaver says, I think after Secret Wars, we get Galactus as the new big baddie. Would you want to see Galactus as the new big baddie after, or would you want to see him a part of Secret Wars?
Well, being that he is a major...
He's a player to both of them.
He's like a major part of Secret Wars. You gotta have him before. Yeah, you gotta have him in it. So
yeah, that's my thing too, man. I would want to see,
but even all of them, like Ultron, you would, because like I'm a very big fan of, and you're a fan. I know you're a fan of the newer iteration. I actually like the older Secret Wars more. And by that time, I'm hoping that we have Doom, and you find a way to bring back Ultron, and you have Galactus involved, and
it was a huge bunch of players, man.
It was dope, bro. And I even liked the dynamic between like the X-Men and Spider-Man, and just how they exploited Spider-Man, and how good he is in a room full of X-Men and how he can handle himself. Like that shit was dope to me. Like how he was like handling all of them, and it was, I think if they can give me some of that, I'll be a happy camper.
One of the biggest things that I really, really dug about the new Secret Wars was the way they handled Thanos.
Okay.
Because Thanos was from the Ultimate
Jonathan Hickman. I don't know why I couldn't remember.
Oh yeah, Hickman. Yeah.
Hickman's run. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanos's character was from the Ultimate Universe, which is a more like a thorough version of himself, where he's not like the cartoony comic book Thanos from the 616. He was like the more serious one, like very similar to the way Josh Brolin portrays him in the newer movies of Endgame.
Yeah.
You have him show up and he kind of like throws a wrench in God Doom's plan in the battle world, and he meets him up on the battlefield. And he's like, you think you're a god, but you're not even close. I was a better god than you were. And he's like, well, what are you? You don't even have your Infinity Gauntlet. He's like, man, I'm still Thanos, the Mad Titan, bro. Let's do this shit. And Doctor Strange just punches his hand through his chest and rips his spine out. And he's like, next. Like he does not even give him one iota of respect. And that to me is something that I feel if they go through the Secret Wars film, they need to do that, like almost at the beginning of it, like right before they separate everybody to kind of like do their own thing. Like Thanos needs to come out in some way and needs to make an appearance, and they need to wipe him out super fast. And the reason why is because then you know from the very beginning that the stakes are that high, that you're like, look, this is that dude that fucking threw a wrench in everybody's shit last time, and this is how bad the new villain is. You get me?
I get you. I just
think
know
audience-wise that'd be good.
But we've already seen that though. We've seen him get manhandled in the What If, and then we've seen him die. We've already seen him die at the hands of the Illuminati in Doctor Strange 2. Yeah. So like we're kind of getting desensitized to him being
like a big baddie.
A big baddie. I think it's time to move on. If the rumors are true and we get like this King Thanos or whatever, if we get a iteration of him, okay.
But I don't think that's going to be a King Thanos for the films. If I'm not mistaken, that's only for it's going to be for the Disney park, because they're trying to release ways of making like bigger, bulkier characters, because they've never had a Hulk, because it just looks weird when you make a mascot that big. But recently they just promoted or they just found a way to do the Infinity Wars Hulk in the suit, like in the spacesuit and the helmet. And they had a guy walking around the establishment. But if I'm not mistaken, I think
it's because it's for a ride. I think there's a ride or like
that's coming out, right?
Avengers thing, and he's actually like the I guess the villain in the ride or something like that. I don't exactly remember, but yeah, I mean, but shit, man, if they do it for the theme park, I don't understand why you wouldn't. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, yeah, because I understand that it would be the idea of like, why not bring him out in the films if you're gonna have him at a theme park? But yeah, I'm seeing it right now. King Thanos Marvel ride reveals Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, so it's a ride.
Alternate ending.
Yeah, it's like a ride that people are on, and he is the villain. And so, why not? Why do it just for the ride? Why not just bring it over into the MCU?
Yeah, no joke. That'd be crazy, man. No other details have been unveiled, but Marvel releases concept art, confirms a few super rising heroes, writers. We'll get to see like Captain America, both Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson, Spider-Man, Thor, man.
And they're having all of the new heroes that are in each movie.
Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, bro.
Man-Thing and Gamora taking on the role of Black Widow. Animated characters such as Spider-Man from the upcoming Spider-Man freshman year, and Steve Rogers from the first episode of What If. And that's because right now, if I'm not mistaken, they have zombie variations of the Marvel characters at the Marvel Hollywood, or which one is it? The Universal Disney?
I think it's Universal. I think it's it's not Universal, Disney. Obviously, but it's like just it's their theme park. It's their Disney theme park shit.
And that's fucking cool, man. I think that's so impressive that they're able to get away with doing shit like that. Because King Thanos is a character that reigns from the comic book world in a variation of Thanos that conquers literally everything. He's at the ending of time. He's beating the fuck out of
isn't it specifically him killing all of the other Thanos and he's being just the guy at the end of time. He's the guy at the end of time, basically.
He doesn't beat himself, but what happens is Ghost Rider ends up saying like, well, I'm just going to get another Thanos and bring him and have him fight him. And then they end up, well, he doesn't beat him. He ends up like just casually talking to him and being like, hey, man, well, look, I mean, I'm right? You're right also. And the guy's like, well, I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it goes awry. It just goes awry. And that's also in the same realm of Ghost Rider kidnapping baby Thanos and then taking him on like a Ghost Rider adventure and then making a Ghost Rider Thanos.
Yeah.
Like that's even more wild. But it was such a crazy storyline because it was like almost like a one and done. Like that was like Marvel found a way to introduce a new Ghost Rider who almost had like a Deadpool-esque attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got such an audience appreciation that they were like, yo, we need to bring this guy into the 616 and leave him here. How do we do that? And then they just brought him in after Thanos is killed in the comics. He ends up becoming like a Guardian of the Galaxy, but it's called I think Guardians or as Guardians of the Galaxy or whatnot. And he ends up working around what is it? Beta Ray Bill. Like it's very awkward, but Marvel has a tendency of doing that where they create characters. They make such a big splash that the audience wants to see them more. And Marvel makes them a regular character in the 616. That's literally how it worked for Gwen Stacy, the one that ends up being a Spider Girl.
Yep.
And Deadpool with Dead Gwen or Spider Gwen or Gwenpool. They did the same thing with her characters too. And she's super OP, man. Super OP. But overall, I think the idea of Deadpool coming into the Marvel universe, I mean, we knew that was coming. We didn't know how, but having the opportunity to have Hugh Jackman come out in a trailer and let us know that he's going to be a part of it, I think that sells this movie one and done. Super beyond excited to see this. I'm really excited, of course, to see Hugh Jackman come back and reprise his role as Wolverine. I don't know how long we're going to get him because this puts us 2 years later. The man's going to be 55, coming out in his first film. I don't know if he's going to want to be 60, doing a trilogy or whatnot, but I would like to see if by chance we get a cool callback to him working alongside Captain America. You know, I kind of hope that in this first film, and that's one of the things I was kind of anticipating. I really just didn't want it to be where we keep getting Hugh Jackman in all these films. I kind of want him to get his opportunity to kind of retire if he's up for it. Like if he wants to come back, let him come back, but don't force this guy to keep doing it if he's not happy anymore. I think working with Marvel, he's going to be fucking happy.
It's Hugh Jackman, bro. He doesn't do it unless he wants to fucking do it. No one's forcing him to. This guy does not have to work again the rest of his life. Like he's filthy rich. So, and not only that, but it's like, isn't he a sir? He's Sir Hugh Jackman. Like this guy's a sir. You're not. I don't know. I think so, but like you can't force that guy to do anything. So if he comes back, it's because he wants to do it. You know what I'm saying? So and just knowing that, I am excited because now I know that he is excited to do this
to reprise the role.
Exactly.
And there's another part of me that's excited because of the fact that I know that Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are really, really great friends. So to see them both in a film together, I think it's going to be really good. And this is even in the aspect of us maybe even getting like Josh Brolin to be in it, the girl that played Domino still be in it. What characters from the Deadpool film franchise are going to cross over with him into the MCU? I'm super excited to see where it goes from here. Oh, George says, oh, well, he doesn't know because the Queen died, so everybody's prestige ranked reset. That's fucking fuck. That's funny as fuck. I've heard every fucking meme known to man for the Queen. I heard we're waiting 3 days for her to return from the gulag. I've heard it all, man. But yeah, that was probably the biggest thing that happened this past week. Biggest news on the market. So super excited. Now onwards onto our regular conversations, onto our regular scheduled program. Brian.
Sir.
We have the 4th episode of the highly anticipated Star Wars show, Andor.
We do.
Yeah. How did you feel about this coming? Have you seen that episode?
I have.
What'd you think?
I think the only thing I could think of that comes to mind when I'm just thinking about Andor in whole is that I've realized I like some of my shows being just binge worthy, like just given to me in one setting and then I can just go through it.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I understand why a lot of platforms decide not to do it. But I don't think I'm gonna like this show as much as I did the first 4. Because like after watching this episode, I realized that I kind of need this to go a little bit faster for me in order for me to be as interested as I want to be. This coming out once each week, I'm probably going to lose a little bit of faith in it. I like the episode. It's moving along. But it's just moving a little bit too slow for me.
Yeah.
If they were to release 2 episodes a week,
I think 2 episodes would really be good.
It'd be fine. Yeah, that would be a lot better.
Let me see. What is it that we said that was how many episodes was going to be?
I don't remember. 10?
I think it was going to be 10.
9?
I believe it's going to be. Andor will be scheduled for 12 episodes.
12 episodes.
Yeah. Now, we had a good release on the first week, which released the first 3 episodes. I think that with that 3, we had some pretty interesting story development. Kind of slow when you break it down. It kind of felt very simple in the first 2 episodes, and then the third it kind of picks up a little bit faster. Good character development. Each character kind of got their own reins, and you kind of felt how it was going to build into this big group of people hating on a group of people. You got a really good backstory and all that stuff. Andor got his or Cassium got a really good character development, and then you had the introduction of that one older guy that came in. But yeah, like you said, when the 4th episode came out, I felt we were going to get a lot more story development in the amount of time. Each episode being about 48 minutes long. That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad amount of time to get an episode out. But I feel like this episode kind of dragged, and I was not at all happy. I was kind of bored to death with it, actually. I kind of feel like it's very boring when it starts dealing with like the officers in the Empire.
Now, see, that's the thing that I find interesting, because now in this episode, like specifically, I found myself starting to question, okay, so are we going to get defectors from the Empire that are going to be they're either going to fall one of 2 ways. They're either going to be so distraught that the Empire just chewed them up and spit them out, that they're going to be defectors and they're going to go against the Empire, or they're going to start their own rogue Empire shit and start just going solo missions to hunt rebels and these uprisings that are just popping up all over the place. Like, that part is interesting to me.
Like, and then there was that part where they kicked this dude out and he just went home. And
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what is interesting to me. Yes, this episode was a little bit slow, but at least I got that. At least I know that I got the brain juices flowing as to what we're dealing with and what we could be looking forward to. Because we know how Andor's story ends. That's nothing to look forward to. We know how that ends. So,
but like, to me, it was one of those things, like with the way that this episode carried that, like, I don't mind that aspect where you get to see this guy's downfall. You get to see him kind of get chewed up and spit out by the Empire, and then he has to go home, pack bags and all that shit.
Yeah,
but like, then his mom slaps him and hugs him, and then that's it. Like, he didn't speak the whole time. Like, he didn't give me any story to what's going on in this guy's head. Like, now I gotta wait a whole week just to hear this guy go, I can't believe.
No, but that's but again, that's a little bit, to me, for me personally, I think that's a little bit on the development side. Yeah, because like that's what you do. You went against a direct order. You knew that what you were doing was wrong. If this did not work out, this wasn't gonna be good for you, and it didn't work out. So what do? You don't sit there bitch and complain, because like, if you notice, everyone that was trying to speak their piece or try to say something, they were just getting shut down. There's nothing to say. The guy had nothing to say. I took a shot. I failed. So I will accept my punishment. And now to see where he takes that is, again, interesting. He's got to go back home. He's got to go back home to mom, who probably hates him for moving out at 17 and joining the Empire and doing some Empire shit. But that's still my son, so I got to bring him in, and he's back home. That's some relatable shit. People gotta go back home sometimes because they went out in the world and tried something and
they failed and stuff.
So yeah, no, like, that is interesting. That to me, even though he didn't say anything this entire episode, a lot was said to me.
Yeah, no, I understand that. For me, it's one of those things, like, I just feel like there needed to be some type of like a not a response from him, but maybe like a because that's the thing. Like right at the very end, he goes. He
But
sees
what
his
do you
mom.
say? But what do you say?
That's the thing.
Like you know the last thing your commanding officer said to you is, "Bro, leave it
Oh no, no,
alone."
no, no. That's fine. That's fine. But what I mean is like, okay, from that episode, from the very end, what did that guy like? What did he go through? Like, what was the part? What was in his
I
mind at the end?
I
Like,
think
what did
that's
you
what it was.
feel? What his character sold you at the end on how he feels? Because literally, the only thing that we got for emotion was he stood there. He took the verbal beat down from his commanding officer. Packed his bags. Didn't have any emotion when he was walking. He just looked kind of like numb. And then his mom slaps him. She hugs him, brings him inside the house, and that's it for that character, if I'm not mistaken.
And honestly, I like that. I think that will. It's got again. It has me theorizing what's going through his head. Sometimes it's okay to
To kind of
not
have it like a
know.
guess.
Yeah, it's a not know. You don't have to give it. You don't have to give me every thought in detail that everyone's thinking and feeling at that time. Like let it breathe for a little bit. This guy just he fumbled the bag big time, bro. Like let that breathe for a second. Like let's understand how severe the consequences are for what he did. And I think that was explored in this episode. Next episode, he'll talk it out with his mom, I'm assuming, and he'll figure it out. But I think as far as his role and his whole little gang's role and what happened, that was to me explained. I already know what that was.
Okay. Well, for me, it's one of those things. I feel like I just needed a little bit more. This is my opinion.
Yeah, it's fine.
I needed to know where this guy sat at the ending of the episode because that was a lot of like time wasted in the episode to at least give us some story development or character development. Just to have him walking through the city and then us not get like a confirmation if this guy's upset or if he's sad or if he's gonna be remorseful of losing his job or if he's regrettable or if he's like revengeful, if he's like gonna pull like the Lucifer eyes of that painting, looking up at a mirror and looking at himself that he's a disappointment, but it's not his fault. He wanted to do what was right and they kind of chose to go the easier route. Like there's a part of me that feels like I didn't get enough development this part, but more than likely we're going to get in the next one.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the only thing that sucks is that we have to wait a week to get that development in that one part of that character.
Well, again, that's the reason. I guess we both got to the same part, the same, goal or end goal or whatever, because that's my problem is like now I want to know and I got to wait a whole week. So that's the reason why like this show it doesn't probably work well for this show for me anyway.
Yeah, that's the same thing with me. I feel like I thought it was going to be 3 episodes a week or whatever.
I thought I heard that too, but obviously we were wrong. So
that felt like such a good idea for them to do 3 episodes a week. But I mean, it's only 12. That only gets 4
they're
drops.
They're only doing 12, so that's like a month and a half worth of show, and they got to stretch this out because I don't know of any other shows that are coming, so they got to stretch this out. So
yeah. So overall, what did we think of this episode?
I liked it. It's just a little bit slow. Again, I found myself, and I haven't been able to do this in a lot, if any, Star Wars shows ever. I don't even think Mando really makes me think as much as this show does. Mando is very straightforward. Yeah. But you were saying like what this guy was thinking. And I remember vividly. I remember, thinking to myself, all those things you thought that weren't explained what he was thinking and how
he was
feeling.
Probably going through it because
he was probably going. He was probably going. That's what I'm saying. Like he was probably going through all of them, and that was the relatability that I felt. I'm like, yeah, he's probably pissed. He's probably worried. He's probably scared. He's probably fucking all of these things, and he's got to go back home. And again, that's what I was thinking. So now, what is he going to do? Is he going to be a defector from the Empire now for embarrassing him like that, or does he have a gripe with him?
What's crazy is I never even thought that there was a possibility that this guy would be a defector. And now that you've kind of said that out loud and kind of brought that up, like I'm like, hey, you know what? Like that's the stirring pot. That's the stirring pot for that idea that he's got everything right now that all he did was wanted to do the right thing, and everyone, even his above people, were like, "Nah, fuck that noise, go the wrong way."
Yeah.
And he was like, "But there's a right way to do it. We should do it this way." And even though it was a failure because it just made a bunch of shit worse, and all of these people kind of figured like that's the way it was going to go because it's always been like what is it, like an uphill battle?
Yeah.
Like he still went with it because he just kind of wanted to do the right thing, and he got demoted and fucking shot in the dark and got canceled out and all this other stuff. So it's like, this is a perfect opportunity for this guy to be a defector and go and help the rebels out and all that other shit.
Or not even that. I was also saying, like, maybe he becomes a defector in the sense that he starts his own like rogue empire faction that just goes around and they're not taking any shit. They're not held by any red tape. They're not held by any bureaucrats or, any type of, political aspirations and things of that nature. It's no, this is what's right, this is what's wrong, and we'll take care of it. If we find out that you're out there fucking around in the name of the rebels. It could be a lot of different things that they do with this.
I have to ask, man, because you're catching a whole bunch of cool stuff more than I am because I'm casually going through this. But how do you feel about that female captain chick, the one that's looking for that space box, whatever?
I hope it's not his sister. That would be so cliche.
That's what I was thinking too.
If that turns out to be his sister. But yeah, I think that's where they're going with this.
But I thought the idea of him like going around in the beginning was because he didn't know where his sister was.
He probably doesn't know.
Could be.
And you know why? You know why? Because she's in the fucking Empire and she's on the ship doing some badass shit somewhere. That's why. Yep. So like I can, and especially like that would be so another cliche, like the younger tribal sister goes missing and she levels up to the point where her main focus was to destroy the Empire from the inside, but now she's like I can see that. You know what I'm saying? Like I can see her somehow lodging herself in the middle of the Empire, and I can see that.
And would this be the sister that was shot in the first episode or in the third episode? The one that was shot and left behind.
Who was shot and left behind?
The sister. Remember when they were looking through? Remember when they're in with the tribal shit, and the one gets shot by the stormtrooper, and then all of them hit him with the arrows and all that shit. This was in the earlier
that
episodes.
wasn't his sister though.
Was that not his sister? Who was that girl then?
No, his sister. If I was watching it correctly, the sister was the younger. Wasn't she younger than him or no? Was she older than him?
She was older.
Or was it? She was older.
Yeah, he was the younger one.
So it was. Oh, that was a sister.
That's what I thought. I assumed that was his sister, and she was kind of like, that's why he wanted to be a part of that, or maybe not.
Yeah, no, I don't think so,
I'm kind of confused.
I think the sister was younger, and because she left behind, she stayed behind. He said something in some language, and I'm assuming he said like, "I'll be back." Like I'm going out there on this mission, and I'll be back. The chick that got shot was like the leader of the kids.
Leader of that group, right?
Yeah, she's like the leader of the kids. Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I could have that wrong, but I don't think so.
Yeah, his sister was younger.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah.
Yeah, she was a little kid, and then he gets in, and
something must happen on the way back or something like that, and she's
get lost or something,
or she gets taken, or
no, he does. He gets taken.
Yeah,
he got taken by that.
That's right. He got taken.
Yeah, he got taken. Yeah. So what do you think's gonna happen? Do you think there's a possibility that she's gonna be the one that's the captain or whatever?
Yeah, again, that's what I said. I hope they don't do it because it's so obvious, but I'm thinking that's where they're gonna go with this.
Okay. I mean, I don't see that being a bad thing. It's okay. It's not too bad. I just want to see what they're gonna do with this because, like you said, we already know what's gonna happen with Cassian Andor, like the character when he dies in Rogue One. But it's like, I still don't understand how and why this is the birth of the rebellion or whatever. I kind of just being a casual. It's just I don't see it as being anything big. Now that group of people that are about to ransack that one base with Cassian, like, are they? I'm guessing that's what the birth of the rebellion is. Like, those are the originators of the rebellion.
Yeah, I think, and I would have to disagree with you on this point too, because I get that. Like, if they're not doing anything else in this show, they're driving home the magnitude of the rebellion and how it's starting and where it's coming from, and just the whole thought process behind starting the rebellion and the frustration and the compassion, like the compassion, but like the passion to want to end things. And we're going on a suicide mission with what, 5 people?
Yeah. Well, no, I think it's 7.
7 people?
Yeah, 7 people.
Like, we're going on a suicide mission. That's how much we believe in this. So if they're doing anything, they're driving home where the rebellion is at this point. Like, it's probably more like with the shits now than it probably ever will be after this. So yeah, they're driving that home pretty hard for me personally.
Are you digging the vibe of this show compared to the other recent shows that Star Wars has released?
Oh yeah, I think it's
I think the magnitude feels different, right? Like it feels like
again
like
because
a film.
yeah, it's driving the points home that it needs to drive home in order to get me engaged personally. I can't really speak for anybody else. But for me personally, like it's checking all the boxes as what I would need to keep me engaged. I just want at least 2 episodes a week and I'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be fine if they give me 2 episodes. I think the time limit on the show is great, being that they're 45 minutes long, 48 minutes long. I just feel like with the way the story's pacing itself, it needs to be at least 2 episodes released. That'd be good. 2 episodes, that's 6 releases. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Rating these episodes and rating the series so far, what do you think? Is it a watch, a must watch, maybe 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, 1 out of 1?
So far, and wait, are we doing the episode or we're doing the show?
Episode rating, and then how you feel about the show in overall.
This episode I would have to give it. What would I give this episode? I don't know, maybe like a 7.3.
Do I do a sound? Do I do a sound?
Yeah, we'll take that from now on. Whenever we rate something, we'll have a sound, but it can't be that
over.
Sound. That was
okay.
horrible.
Let me see. No?
I think. Listen, let's not get out of hand. I think what we should do is we should table this and we
really think about this.
We'll revisit this at a later time. No, I'm joking.
That's because I have a bunch of these.
You know what my problem is? I don't want you to get started because then you don't stop. And I gotta figure out a way to like
slow me down,
to slow you down, and
slow me down.
It's exhausting.
That's funny.
But no, 7.3, I guess, for this episode, and I guess for an entire show. Let's stick around like the 7 range. I'll give it a 7. It has the potential to be a lot higher, but for right now, I'll give it a 7. It's piqued my interest.
Yeah, you know what? Like, if it would have stayed with the format it did in the first 3, I would have stayed like around an 8. I would have been like 8 in the middle if it was giving me like several episodes per week.
Yeah.
But since it went to 1, I'm kind of like, hey man, I don't want to wait a week and a week and a week just to get 1 episode over and over again and it drive this way where its pacing is super slow. So right now I'm going to be like low mid 7s, 7.5, maybe a little bit below that. But overall, the show, I feel is a good watch. I feel like it's like a high 7, maybe like a low 8.
Mm-hmm.
It does intrigue me in the sense of like where it's going to go. All the characters did an amazing job this past time. I think that the world building is going fantastic. I think us seeing Star Wars in a different setting or a different stylized version of itself kind of gives this kind of like, hey, I'm interested, keep me going, keep me pacing, but they have to change that pace. That story has to change. I think the next one's going to be good because we're going to get our first action sequence, not minusing the first time he killed the 2 cops, because that was okay, but I want to see like a shootout action scene. And the one that we got in episode 3 where he's in that one little cave area, like that wasn't too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was pretty cool. But to see it on a large scale where they're going to go and like ambush like an actual facility with a bunch of different guards, like that's going to give me Rebels or Clone War vibes. So I'm going to get this cool, like, Star Wars-y action sequence that I'm kind of excited for. So I'm going to give it like a low 8. I'm really excited to see where the show's going to go. So anybody out in the comment section or that you're out there, let us know what you guys are rating this show. Do you like it? Do you not like it? How are you liking the episodes? Let us know in the comment section. Casual cantina scuffle. Yeah, maybe. No. I don't mean like casual. I need to have some like high stakes, man. I need it to be something serious. I want to see if it's because like if they do a shootout like the way the Boba Fett series was, like I'm out. I'm 100% out of it. Looks like the last scene in Boba Fett, where it just looked like a giant studio and people were just running around. It just looked fake as shit. Like I don't think I can handle that, man. Not for another Star Wars thing if they're gonna drop the ball on that. If it's like a really good shootout, it looks like, cinematically it looks nice, like something exciting. I'm 100% stuck on this shit. And being that it's very filmed in the way Rogue One was, I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to look like when it comes to the action. So, straight up. So, onward, on to the next in our last piece of conversation today. Are you excited? I know you're excited. Probably more excited than I am.
I'm so excited that I'm surprised I did not hear a sound effect or a drop somewhere yet. Like, I'm surprised.
Time to level up. Boom! Onwards, on to the last part of conversation, and that's because I have the Batman one. Dude,
I have no one to blame. I have no one to blame but myself, actually.
So we have episode 7 of She-Hulk. The recap for this week. We got our new episode. We got a revisit by Blonsky. We have a romantic. I guess you could say like a romance building. I don't even know how to explain it. We had like a romantic situation with a character from a previous episode that came out of this one, and it transcribed into a certain situation. But we have episode 7 of She-Hulk, and we are doing a recap and a review. Brian, did you get to watch it?
I did, yes.
And how do you feel about this episode, and how do you feel like the show is going? Anybody out in the comments section too, guys, let us know what you guys are thinking of She-Hulk. Let us know. What do we got, Brian?
I liked this episode. I just think that it wasn't their better episodes. There's other episodes that I like more than this episode. I loved anytime that I get more Emil Blonsky, that I'm good. This one just didn't hit for me.
Really?
Didn't quite hit. I liked it, but I don't know. It just wasn't for me. Not this one.
Okay. What else? In this, I'm in the complete opposite. This one for me, like, I was sold on this episode. I thought it was great. It had like
what about it? What about this episode? What was it?
Kind of, you know what it did? It reminded me of 2 of my previous favorite shows, like that I've ever seen, which is one of them being like it had the comedy of the TV show Angel.
Okay.
And Supernatural. Like it just had enough quirkiness and enough of this like super powered people that it just kind of like, and just the right kind of comedy that it just hit me in the right spot. I giggled a lot, even when they had it to where, spoilers if you haven't seen the episode, the guy from the Wrecking Crew with the crowbar kind of shows up, and he's all like, when he showed up, I was like, oh my god.
Dumb. All right, now see, I gotta call bullshit there. Like that is one of the parts that I just could not wrap my head. I could not wrap my head around the fact that this person attacked you not that long ago, and why are you not asking him why he did that? Like, did you think like
that was kind of weird that she didn't even get to the nitty gritty of it, or he didn't even be like, hey, you know what? I want you to be a better person. I'm sorry I did this. Here's why I did this. Like that was kind of weird to me. He just kind of
that kind of took me out of
the experience.
That scene, that kind of took me out of that whole scene. I'm like,
this is where I think the writing is kind of like dropping the ball most of the time.
Yeah,
is they just kind of dumb down the audience and they expect us to forget about that stuff. Like like for him to walking at the end, and then for him to kind of play this character that's like, hey, I'm really sorry, but like you seem like you have a lot more problems on your plate. Let me help you. And just all the little bits of comedy that are between that. Like I just thought the whole like therapist session was, and then Blonsky, like first off, they neutered the shit out of Blonsky during this whole entire thing. I was going to say, so funny though.
No, but it's still at the end of the day, even if you neutered him and you nerfed him, if you will, that's still Tim Roth at the end of the day.
Oh, dude, straight up.
Like he's still gonna. I don't give a fuck who he plays. It's still Tim Roth at the end of the day. Like that's one of the things that I kind of took for granted. Is like, holy shit, I'm watching an episode of She-Hulk, and it's like 75% of the scenes have Tim Roth in it. Like that was awesome.
I think the funniest part where he was explaining to her how, like, he's kind of breaking down her like the format on how she needs to carry herself. Like she's like super connected to her phone, and in the back you see the advertisement with his fucking poster, and he's smiling and shit.
Yeah.
And on the bottom it says Obama instead of Namaste. Yeah. And I was like, dude, fuck out of here. Someone had to design that shit and make a whole entire like yoga platform based on the abomination. And I was like, I'm for this. I need a reality show based on just this character doing therapy with people. Like there was just something that was just so dumb funny about this episode that it really.
And where were the girlfriends? Where were they?
Apparently they don't care enough. They don't care enough in this episode to leave her and just leave this chick out in the middle of nowhere. Like, dude, it was so funny. Was Blade's son the priest? Blade's son. He's talking about the vampire. You're talking about the vampire guy. That dude that was like a straight nod to Taika Waititi's What They Do in the Dark. That was like such a straight nod to that shit. That was just the whole show was so funny. You know what really impressed me is that not too many people acted like that they were gonna like know these characters from the Marvel universe like the way they did Frogman. Like for some reason, everyone's like, "Fuck yeah, Frogman's coming out." It's like, dude, don't bullshit me, dude. Like no one knows or cares about that character in the MCU. Like no one cares about it. They're just saying that because they want to be able to put that hype up. But no one was talking about that with like, because I'm guessing the Matador guy, the Spanish dude, ends up being the Buccaneer. Like there's a character, if I'm not mistaken, called the Buccaneer. And I want to say that that's him. If they hadn't given that guy a name, I would have thought that he would have been Swordmaster, the dude from Hawkeye. I would have totally thought that would have been, and that would have been a cool intro for him too. Like it would have just been stupid in the background, kind of funny. And the same thing with Manbor, or what's his name, Manbull.
Yeah.
But no one's like batting an eye at this and being like, "Oh, dude, I remember Manbull and Doctor Strange of like episode 500." Nobody's really batting an eye at this or trying to look up their characters. They just literally introduced 3 because you have the porcupine. You have like these 3 random characters, including a vampire character on the cusp of them having a Werewolf by Night episode with vampires and all that stuff, or Blade. That you have these characters coming out in the background of a She-Hulk episode, and no one's really like trying to overanalyze this. They just kind of accepted it for what it's worth. I think this is a really cool turning point in Marvel history, that we are coming to a point that seeing people with powers is an everyday thing. Because we're about,
honestly, know what I mean? I mean, low key, not for nothing. I know a lot of people are shitting on this show, but they're putting their best foot forward.
They're doing good. Yeah, they're doing all right.
We got an episode with Tim Roth. We got an episode with Mark Ruffalo. We got an episode with the chick that plays
Titania.
Titania. Who we know we're getting a Charlie Cox sighting at some point. Like they are doing to me a decent job at putting this show together.
I'm not gonna lie. I got a lot more laughs out of this episode than I did with any of the episodes for like Miss Marvel.
I thought this episode was dry as fuck. This episode, they were trying to be a little bit too funny for me.
Oh, okay. So it was just you felt like you knew that they were doing comedy, but it just wasn't hitting correctly.
It just wasn't. Yeah, it just wasn't hitting. Yeah,
I get that. I can get that. Because it's more like like slapstick thigh slapping comedy. Like you're like, oh, this guy.
Yeah,
that's what it kind of felt like to me. And for me, like I kind of like those witty writing postures.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I did like the character development. Oh, there's my mom. Good night, Mom. I love you. My mom jumped in the comment section. What's up? I did like the character development. That there was a point where, because I did like the relatability on the fact that she kept checking out her phone. She kept going back to it. Like I was like, oh man, we've all been there before. Like it's so corny. Like, and then they had that whole like round table of like how she should have responded and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, like that's funny. But of course, like with the way the show's been going, it's guys explaining to a girl how a guy thinks in those situations. And usually it's guys are pretty simple, and we believe the girls to be more complicated. But in this situation, it seems to me that they're trying to explain that us as guys are complicated, which is okay. I mean, I get that. We've all been in that situation before in those kind of processes. And I thought it was very funny the way that they brought in someone that she's had some type of trauma or turmoil with as a villain, but not necessarily a villain because she just believes she just got attacked because she's She-Hulk. Like, I just don't think she's burying into it. But then that guy came off, like we said, that he cares for her well-being. And if that's the case, why be comfortable with trying to help her with a relationship, but then not be like, hey, you know, that guy that you hooked up with, like, he's a part of this thing that we attacked you for also. And I apologize that we're all a part of this. And this is what's going on. You should be very careful. Because, like, back in the day when they made the Edward Norton movie, like, the Hulk was very particular, even on the first episode, making sure that people did not get his blood. And that doesn't even register on this chick's radar. Like, to not be caring where her blood sample goes or whatnot. So in the fucking 7th episode, someone already got her blood. Now what? Like, now what's going to happen? I'm so confused on that. Like, what does it even matter?
That's where you were looking for some type of MCU tissue or connection or where we're going with this. There it is. That was the end game. Now we know that there's some spare Hulk blood out there in the world. So who knows where it goes from there.
Yeah, I'm super confused because even with that, like, I mean, I guess that when we go back to the Edward Norton film, the reason why they needed more blood was because the guy who played the leader needed the blood so that he can make Blonsky more abomination stuffs to make him stronger, right? Because he was giving it to him like in doses. Now I'm guessing that if by chance they create multiple Hulks to build the villains of the Hulk franchise, this is where it begins, because this guy ends up getting Jennifer Walters' blood, not Bruce Banner's, and that's why all the other Hulks are casually weaker than him, but can kind of like keep up, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's not a really bad way for them to initiate them bringing in like A-Bomb or even the Red Hulk or any of those characters in general. My biggest thing is, do you want to take into consideration that Hulk King is not the leader's cousin or the leader himself, but someone else?
I mean, it could be anybody.
What are the opportunities of it being either Doc Samson? And anybody that's in the comment section that's watching or listening, let me know if you guys think this is a possibility for the She-Hulk show, because these are two characters that have not been established in a long time or at all in the Marvel universe. Doc Samson and Rick Flag, is that his name? No, Rick Ross Marvel. See if I can find this guy real quick. So there's another character. I just cannot remember his name. Let's see. Rick Jones. There we go. Now, Rick Jones was the kid that but Bruce Banner saves during the gamma bomb testing.
Okay.
In the very, very beginning, there was like a kid playing guitar and he was just hanging out on the fucking gamma bomb testing site. And Bruce Banner runs out there and saves him and pulls him in and takes all the gamma, and that's what turns him into the Hulk. And Rick Jones has always been this like best friend to the Hulk because he knew his identity. But then later on, of course, like even in the Maestro story, like Rick Jones plays a huge part. You know, he ends up being A-Bomb. There's a bunch of different storylines to this character, and he's very, very important. And he's never been established in the Hulk storyline. I mean, as a matter of fact, like me just asking you, what characters are you familiar with from the Hulk's comic book stories in the MCU?
Well, to answer your question, to answer the original question, I don't think it's going to be that deep. I think it's going to be this Todd character, and I think
I mean,
I think
there's a part of me that hopes it's not.
I don't know if we're going to get too many obscure Hulk villains, as far when I was growing up, I didn't know the Hulk to have too many villains besides Red Hulk. I just remember when me growing up, I was always intrigued by the fact that they had the Hulk matched up with someone. It was always the Hulk and Wolverine,
Yeah,
or
the
it
Hulk
was
and
I
Thing.
always when I grew up, I wasn't a big fan of the Hulk, but I was always a big fan of him teaming up with or facing off against the Thing or things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So when
It's
it
more
comes
the fact
to
of like his actions.
exactly, like
Yeah.
I don't remember growing up seeing him in too many famous story arcs and things of that nature. I just remember growing up with the old school comic books of him, having it out with the Fantastic Four because he's out of
Hmm.
control, or him going against Doctor Strange and him, it was even one with him against the Juggernaut. It was always
Hmm.
some type of novelty case with the Hulk. So
Yeah.
that's what I remember growing up when it comes to the Hulk.
So what I think is very cool is, so more than likely you probably do know the two characters I've mentioned. Rick Ross or Rick Ross, Rick Jones. No, Rick Ross. What's that fucking guy from the DC? His song Lamborghini Mercy. Lamborghini Mercy. Don't even start. I'll totally voice mod that dude right now, dude. Totally voice mod that character. Um, Rick Jones is this character that he ends up, of course, being A-Bomb, which is another variation. Very, very prestigious when it comes to the Hulk storylines. Always like the guy on the computer. He's like that's who Rick Jones usually is.
Okay.
He also plays a really, really big story plot in almost the New World Order for the Captain America film. So it'd be
Okay.
cool to kind of like at least see him come up, but yeah, he's the blue one, and yeah, that's who A-Bomb. A-Bomb is kind of looks like Abomination, but he turns like literally into like a fucking ball, like a beetle or whatever. But he's just a big ass blue beetle. He came out in the cartoons. Um, but Doc Samson is again, he's usually this kind of like Thor looking character. He's like a big guy, wears like tight shirts and blue jeans, but he's got green hair. Like he's got literally like long green hair, and that's why he's called Samson, because he's like the biblical version of Samson, right? But his hair is green because it signifies like how much gamma radiation he has. So that's why he's a Hulk, but he's a psychologist. And
Mhm.
he's like a dude that's like a science guy. Like he's always there to kind of like help Bruce Banner and the Hulk kind of like come to terms with each other as a person. He's like his therapist.
Mhm.
So like yes, it kind of looks like it's a more of like a straight idea for it to be that one weird guy that's the leader's cousin, and then he's gonna just send the leader like the stuff and be like, "Yo, I'm gonna fix your skull from looking like I don't know, like fucking Mars attacks or whatever." Um, but it would be kind of interesting if like the reason why he went with like the Hulk King is because Samson has always been very cocky with himself. Like he's always believed himself to be like this Thor-esque godly man because he's always like handsome or whatever.
Mhm.
So that would be him being like, oh, I'm the king of the Hulks because I'm fucking handsome and I got green hair or whatever. But that would be the idea of him being like a science, having a coat, doing all that other shit. In my opinion, it would be cool just to introduce these extra random characters to the comic book line or the storyline of the Hulk. But
Yeah.
overall, do we think it's going to happen? Probably not. I think they're going to try to keep it as simple as they can. I
Yeah.
think them having Titania and them kind of like casually introducing the Wrecking Crew and us getting these cool little nods to like a very kicked and chilled, watered down variation of the Abomination is kind of like with what with what we're going to kind of stick with. So I'm kind of thinking like an 80% chance this is going to be that weird guy that's like, "What's up, girl? What's up, Hulk lady?" and all that stuff from the dating app.
Mhm.
But this episode actually did pretty cool. Like I thought it was pretty fun. It had a lot of corny comedy in it, which I kind of like dug. Like I said, I dug the different like the porcupine guy. I like Tim Roth's variation of how fun dude Tim Roth is. He's a funny motherfucker, man. When he just plays like a casual stoner dude.
Yeah,
Like the
he was definitely the highlight for me for this episode for sure.
how are you liking the relationship between him and Jennifer's character? Like knowing like that he has that weird backstory with like her cousin. Like they did fight and destroy Manhattan once.
Yeah, but they're not building off of that. They quickly got away from that, and it's more just a lawyer client relationship. So it's not really anything to write home about. They're not really doing anything with it. It's just an episode that you squeezed Tim Roth in, and I appreciate it just for that and for what it is.
Yeah. So what would we rank this episode? Anybody else in the comment section? Make sure you guys tell us your rankings. 10 out of 10. She-Hulk TV show. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, nah, this is definitely getting like a 6 for me. Like this wasn't my cup of tea. But I'm okay with that. Like 6.
And how do you feel overall the entire show?
It's enjoyable. I like watching it. This for me, just this episode alone, unfortunately, just wasn't my cup of tea. But overall, I got to give it a solid 8.
Nice.
I'm tuning in every week, so haven't quite given up on my Marvel shows just yet. So yeah, they still got it.
I think it's casual for me. I'm probably gonna be around. Yeah, Gabe. I'll probably be around the thing. 7. I think for sure this episode to me actually highlighted the show a little bit more. Like knowing that it's gonna give me this kind of like comedy where it takes this character and puts her like in a weird hippie scenario, not some like uptight living like she's been doing, where she's just like not very open to things. They gave us this really funny Abomination being like this weird guru, and yeah, it hit me right in the right spots. It literally reminded me of all my I don't know, like 90s movies where they had their love guru things where like it was some con artist that's trying to make people feel like okay, tell me if I'm not mistaken, but do you think Tim Roth, like his character, the Abomination, do you think he's faking it? Or do you think like this is just who he is now? Like this is like he's legit who he is? Because there's a part of me that keeps thinking that he's faking this shit. And then when all is fucking said and done, this motherfucker has posters of himself saying Abominus Day. And I'm just like, dude, is this where they're going with him? Because like I do want to see him in the Thunderbolts. And I don't want to see him as a hippie. I want to see him as like a straight, like I'm fucking ready to go to war. I want to be a KGB specialist, like and be making money with Russia. Like there's so many different variations of him from the comics that I feel we're gonna fall into. But like this past episode was so funny of him like being a hippie. Like I was like, this is it. Like this is him for the rest of the Marvel universe. So like, how do you feel about that?
I think it doesn't matter whether he's the peaceful Abomination or the out of control one. I think if he gets drafted or if he gets put on the Thunderbolts, it'll be on some like you do this and you're off of probation or whatever. It's gonna be something like that. I don't think it's gonna be.
Ooh, like
I
a
don't
Suicide
think
Squad?
yeah, I don't think there's anything stopping him
Oh,
from doing so.
damn, I never even thought about that. Where they approach him and they're like, hey, you know what? You want to get that collar off your thing? You do this for us.
Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie. Seeing the lineup for the Thunderbolts, it's not impressive to me. Like it does need like a big character, like a big funny character, and I don't think the Red Guardian is gonna be enough for me. Like I need someone with some real superpowers, man. I know cheap ass Captain America's fucking Dollar General Captain America's all up in this motherfucker. But yeah, so for me, I think this episode was gonna hit probably about maybe a 7.5. I think the show, for what it's worth, it's probably gonna be a low 7, high 6. I kind of feel like these last couple of episodes are going to be its redeeming qualities. I kind of just have this vibe that it's gonna skyrocket into the next couple of episodes with all the pressure and the stories and stuff. Because there's so many from here. There's so many ways the story can go. Her blood's out in the open. Society knows who she is. There's people that want her dead. She has backup from this dude who literally is the Abomination. So even if you want to remove Bruce Banner, the Hulk, and put him on a different planet, if you wanted to have a super fight between another character, you could literally bring Abomination as her backup. Like you literally saw in this episode that his leg thing can go out of whack and they'll just go fix it. And they're even more scared to even go in that direction. So like there's just so many cool things. And then, like I said, like we have the Charlie Cox episode coming up, which everybody's really, really excited for. So we'll just have to see where they go and they take it. I think there's going to be a really cool possibility when they introduce him that he's going to be the one to be like, hey, they stole your blood. like, I'm here to warn you that this is going to get crazy.
Mhm.
Like, I kind of feel like that's going to be his point in the show. That it's going to be like, maybe it's like the Hand. Maybe they're bringing the Hand in. The Hand is the people that want to get a part of her blood. That's not too far-fetched from what they do in the comics when they bring Daredevil into this. So we'll have to see where it goes. We don't really know what they're going to do, but super excited. Like you said, yeah, I feel like it's a great show. I feel like everything's going good. But yeah. So anybody else that's in the comment section, let us know in the comments what you guys believe this show to be getting on a ranking. Let us know what you guys think. Tell us how you like it and whatnot. You know what I'm trying to say, man. I don't even know what I'm trying to say anymore. I'm tired, man. I'm tired, man. This is what it is. So what do you got going on this weekend?
Nothing. Just gonna be hanging out, chilling. How about yourself? You got the stuff going on. So
yes, sir. We have Anime Fiesta going on this weekend at the McAllen Convention Center, hosted by Kaboom Comics and Anime Fiesta, Anime Boom, which are the two comic book stores that run that thing. Our boys Marla V and Ramsey Ramirez are the ones that run it. We love you guys. Thank you guys so much. Guys, don't forget to check us out. And do not forget, October 29th, our MicroCon, the 80s brewery, is going to be happening. We're going to be having a retro gaming event. The Average Boys is going to be there. I'm going to try to get Brian on a little television. He's going to be with us there. It's going to be fucking fantastic. Dude, it'd be cool if you came down, man. I got to get you to come down one of these days. When are you planning to come down?
I was going to come down for like around the Thanksgiving time, but now I don't know.
I remember you were saying.
We'll see. I'm definitely going to make it out there at some point. Like,
it's going to be great. It's going to be great. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Yep, that's right, Georgie. We have Games at Ham is going to be there with an arcade and bar. So it's going to be super crazy, which Hams is the guy that's going to be running our arcade retro gaming organization and tournament that's going to be going on October 29th at the 80s Brewery. But guys, do not forget Anime Fiesta this weekend, McAllen Convention Center. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be hanging out with my best friend, Christella, CC Build. She's going to be building an amazing cosplay. But guys, make sure you guys stop by, check it out. Come say hi, and I'll see you guys hopefully this weekend. Guys, have a great weekend. Tell everybody you love them. You know, help people out. Don't forget to help each other. Don't forget to clean up after yourselves. Don't forget to wear your masks, or I don't even know if people are going to wear masks anymore. But guys, we appreciate every one of you. Thank you to our extraordinary listeners for tuning in. We appreciate every one of you. Hit us up during the week. Tell us what you guys want us to talk about. And we'll see you guys again next week, Friday, here on the Average Boys Podcast live. Laters, boys and girls.
Jeez.
Woo! Laters.